your first one, right?
Yeah, first all bosses plus DLC.
Yeah, so that's been done. This is like an old video. I think this is like over a year old now, but we can commentate the strats for the optional bosses because they've been requested by thousands and hundreds of thousands of people all around the world.
10 millions of tens of millions.
Yeah, billions and trillions. And yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So now, I've always wondered this. Why do you do optional bosses in this order?
So at the time that I was doing it, I was having a harder time with the DLCs. So what I preferred to do was just get Frida and Gravetender out of the way right away, because I felt that the stats that I would gain from going through the rest of the game weren't as important where I'd have to do it later on. I could just do it right after Cinder because my stats were good enough. But I did feel for Ring City, for Half-Light particularly, you'd need that dex up, right?
Right,
For the Painting Guardian. So I had to put Ring City later, but I didn't want to put it last, just because I wanted to have an easy finish. So the way I think about the run is like, or at least at this time, the way I was thinking about it was not being super climactic at the end for everybody's like, anticipation of the run, but more so making it like the hardest stuff comes easier first, so it's easier to reset and waste less time.
Okay, fair enough.
So I saved time resetting it.
You don't find the having ODK and tree balls at the end like anticlimactic or anything?
It is anticlimactic. I wouldn't do that now.
Okay, yeah, because I know when Hob was doing this run, he put Cinder, Freed, and like all the hard bosses at the end to make it even more climactic, which is a little bit interesting.
Yeah. So right here we're getting 60 dex. Our dex is going to end up probably around 70 by the end, I think. I don't actually remember specifically, but we'll go through that as it comes along. You're wanting roughly 30 endurance. That's good. You could go to 40, but you don't really need any more than 30 endurance for this run.
Yeah, I think because you get 30 endurance, you actually go to 80 dex in this run. I'm not sure. Because I get 40 endurance and I go to about 70. So you should probably get around 80. I'm not 100% sure, but I think so.
Yeah. At least 70 though, because on Half-Light, the Painting Guardian method is a combo that kills her all in one go, and if you don't have enough damage, she'll live by like the tiniest bit of health, so you need the damage up there. And right now we're going to Profane Capital, which I was explaining earlier before we cut out back to Cinder. But yeah, we're trying to get the ashes from the first jail cell on the right-hand side. That's going to give us access to Lightning Pine Bundles and Lightning Resins as well.
Xanthus ashes, right?
Yeah.
And there's an item right beside that, and it triggers a jump scare. So grab that. It's actually the scariest thing in the world.
The big baby head guys.
Yeah. It's terrifying, man.
I wonder what those are called. I don't even know.
Golems,
okay. So yeah, this run, you'll notice like there's parts in it that are much longer than they need to be. So we'll be pointing out specifically what you could do at this point in time that is better than what I was doing back when I got this run, because there's definitely strats that can be sped up a lot. Right here, we're waiting for the jailer's rotation to be at a nice point where I can kind of sneak into the cell without being seen. This I'd still recommend if you wanted to make sure you get the ashes safely, but you could rush in there and take a chance in Homeward Bone. I wouldn't recommend that over this though.
Yeah, with the way the jailers work, sometimes you can get away with it and sometimes you can't, because the positioning, the pathing of them isn't always the same. So if they're just a little bit to the right or a little bit to the left, they can end up looking at you, and of course that's how your health gets drained and hits happen.
Yeah, this whole area, it's really simple if you follow like good time frame and good execution, but you slip up a little bit. Like jailers are probably the most dangerous in the area because you just have to be looked at. That's literally it. Yeah.
And actually, you Homeward Bone here. Oh man, you Homeward Bone here because you get the ashes and then you go to Ariandel, rather than just going and doing. I see. Yeah, because you don't have the Osiris gesture yet.
No, and so the routing because of that is not fluid compared to what it could be. So there's definitely been a lot of improvements with like how speedy the run has been over time for people completing it more recently.
Oh yeah, definitely. A lot of this has been optimized and made more efficient, and new strats have come in, safer strats and stuff to reduce time and make it more consistent, which is really cool.
I think if we do the whole idea with analyzing each boss particularly and all that, we can kind of mention more of those things, especially for like the fights, like what you could do if you want to get away with like not dodging this attack, for example, and like get more attacks, or like, you know, a little bit more of a speedy kind of approach to it. But I mean, another thing I'd really recommend if you want to like incorporate really good stuff into this, like there's a lot of stuff you could learn from speedruns too.
Yeah, a lot of the speedrun strats are very, very good, very efficient. Like you can't use all of them, of course, because a lot of them depend on, you know, tanking hits. But there's a lot of modifications you can make, and it shortcuts. Like if you're trying to learn a boss, like watching someone who knows the boss very well do it, shortcuts the learning process for you by quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And now we're going to the DLC.
Do you still do your... I don't remember if you do this or not. Your iframe dodging.
Oh, no. No, that was silly.
Okay.
That was silly. Because you don't even have to. You literally just run around him. Yeah. The one thing that's dangerous with running around him, though, and I guess I can't really point this out right here because I probably did the opposite in this video, but when you try to strafe Gravetender's jump attacks, if he doesn't do the jump and he does the backhand slash, that's where you have to have really good turning.
Right.
You don't want to turn too sharp, right?
Yeah, that probably... Well, you're locked on, so you don't really need to worry about camera control too much there. But, yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, you kind of like dip in too soon, and then he just gets you with the slash because you don't know what it's going to be out of the two attacks until you get close.
Right. So an Ariandel here. I don't know if your game crashed or something.
Oh, yeah, so around the time we were doing this run, there was no way to not have the game crash. Now there's been a community member that's actually fixed the game and provided an executable file, an exe, that doesn't crash. So you can install that and you'll never have crashes at all.
Really?
But, yeah, that's what I use right now.
Oh man, I didn't know that.
I can send you it. It's for like speedruns, it's for everything. It's really good.
Okay. If I ever play it again.
Shout out to that person.
Okay. So we'll just fast forward this a little bit.
Yeah.
But an Ariandel, this is where you want, I believe, like 20 or so alluring skulls.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's just so many small areas where there's enemies that are attacking you from all different angles. So you see Squilla popped a green blossom there to make sure his stamina stays high for this next running section. He's going to come up here and throw one skull for the wolf, the two wolves on his left. And then he's going to throw, I believe, another skull for the other wolves, and then the tree mothers, and then he's just gonna sprint all the way.
There's one thing to mention right there that's really important before is like when I landed, I rolled twice. You don't just roll and then run, or just land hard and run, because there's the guy that actually was about to throw the spear at me on the hill, he'll actually snipe you from the hill and you can't see him. So you're gonna want to just move forward as fast as you can to dodge the javelin that will hit where your feet are when you land, and you're good if you do that. So just like roll a couple times when you land before you throw those two skulls.
Right here, so he's throwing two skulls there to deal with any wolves that might have followed him all the way to this bonfire.
Yeah, now this actually isn't necessary. I'd actually recommend, my greater recommendation for this would be if you've practiced the DLC enough, and this isn't really, I mean, like it could be your preference that you want to do it this way, but I would actually come around to this bridge from accessing the building the other way, from like the mines area where there's like the bugs, and do the full circuit, because that saves more time. So you would actually just not go to that bonfire, and you go to the next one in Corbian Settlement.
Really? And you just do Gravetender second, I guess? Yeah,
and you do Gravetender after Frida. That would actually be the recommendation I would give. But if you want to do Gravetender first, this is how you're going to do it. Alternatively, you just make it to the building, which you'll see us do eventually, and I'll refer back to that.
Yeah, that is way more efficient, actually, just running the full circuit, because
it's all in a circle.
Then you don't even have to cross the bridge. That's pretty cool. I don't know if any runners do that, actually.
Really?
I don't know. Like, yeah.
The only reason I do that is because of speedruns. So.
Yeah. Okay, so here I believe you use a dated strat here, but this is a very tough section. This has killed quite a few runs. I don't know how you do this now. Yeah, okay, no, you use the bear strat. Bears and I came up with this strat. So you throw a skull there to lure the first guy. You're going to strafe this javelin or roll it, and then you're going to throw a skull for him and kill him.
That guy. Okay. Yeah, I still do that. I backstab him now, and then I think I'm waiting.
Right here, like there's a very specific position you have to wait, and if you're not in this position, you can get hit by arrows. So you wait in that position, and you can't hear it, but you wait for about 2 or 3 arrows, and they'll de-aggro. And once they de-aggro, you can run down here, and it'll reset their cycle so that you'll always dodge an arrow, or you'll always know when the arrow is going to come for you at that point. and you won't have to deal with any like what's it called, ridiculous situations. And then from there, you can drop at a specific point and set up RTSR.
So the point that I dropped out right there, I don't actually do that anymore, and you're going to have to pay attention to what your dex is at. I think that affects fall damage. So don't necessarily assume that you can fall at the same point in every case scenario, even on if you're using these strats for a casual run, because your character's levels could affect how much damage you take. But you'll find a spot that'll work where you'll have enough damage to have red tier stone right away, and it's efficient because you just go right in the fight. And alternatively, like, there would be no other way to do it, right? So that's like the last chance you have to take enough damage from the falling to get red tier stone.
You can like climb back up and fall over again, but you're just opening yourself up to more risk. Okay, and here, so this is the Grave Tender fight. If you stand in that exact position, the wolves will, oh my god, Squilla, will aggro you.
Oh, this is the really scary one, I think.
This is the sketchy fight?
I think this is really, okay, this is like possibly a worst case scenario fight. Maybe not the beginning, but I think there's actually a really sketchy thing that happens later on.
Yeah,
I think there might be.
Aren't as bad as most DS3 dogs, so they won't teleport or anything. You're safe there, and you can strafe most of their attacks except for one. So you just got to keep running away, waiting for a jump attack like that,
or just when they bark or whatever, like that that growl animation.
And you don't want Grave Tender to be close. So it's just spacing Grave Tender and having an attack that's open for the wolves. So you're being really cautious here. I feel like your nerves are up right now.
Oh yeah, like the tension of these kinds of runs back when I did this. I mean, I'm sure you can relate to that too. It's like it's much more. There's more at stake because no one had done this run before, right?
Right. We were all competing for the world's first at this point. Right before this run, actually, like a few days before this run, I had got all the way to Gale and died.
And the crossbow.
The crossbow. Yeah, I had died. I was almost there.
That was heartbreaking. I remember seeing that, and I was actually kind of sad.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that. You're like, I'm sad, man. I was like, I'm fucking sad. What the fuck?
Okay, so right here we're trying to basically get Grave Tender to do running attacks, so I can punish him with a backstab. There's a better way to do it than I believe the way I'm going to in this video, but I mean, if you want to roll the attack, you can. You just got to have Karthus Blood Ring in case, because the hitbox of his attack is lingering, which means that even after you clear it, it still might kill you. So what I recommend practicing on this is kind of running in the direction I am right here. And then, oh no, I'm doing that in this video. Okay, so that's good.
You go for the backstabs, yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good.
One thing we missed here, I'm gonna just rewind really quick, just because we missed it. But if you look here, if you wrap Grave Tender around this pillar, like Squilla's about to do, he actually gets stuck on like that little jut out, and you can use that to
buy time.
Because buy time, because he won't attack you during this. And usually, if you don't use that, he'll run and Sparta attack you, or Brad Pitt, Troy attack you, whatever it's called.
Brad Pitt.
Yeah, the Troy attack where he jumps with his sword and stabs the guy in the neck.
I haven't actually seen that.
You have? Okay, yeah. It's at the beginning. I can send it to you.
I'll have to check it out. Anyways, so yeah, we just kind of pivot around him. And the one thing you're watching out for is there's a mix-up. So he'll do a backhand slash sometimes. It's not as common, but when he does do it, if you pivot and you think he's going to jump, you'll walk into his sword. So you really have to watch at that last second to see if he's going to do the jump. If he doesn't, keep running diagonally on an angle, because you're not going to be able to just turn straight away and react that fast. But here's an example of a scenario where I think he's going to... Is he going to die, or am I going to get the wolf as well?
No, I think this is the sketchy fight. So
yep, this is the sketchy fight. Yep.
It's also notable right here. So once Squilla gets another backstab here, the wolf's going to pop up, because past a certain HP threshold, that's when phase 2 starts, and the phase 2 is when the wolf comes out. You don't want to deal with 2 enemies at once. So you want to kill him as fast as possible. Now, in his second little magic area phase, it's notable that he's vulnerable right here. When he's walking with his shield down, you can just pretty much run up to him and attack him. Squilla chooses to be cautious, not attack him twice there, and now he has to deal with both of them. And during this second phase of the fight, if you have both of them alive, Grave Tender will stand back and spam you with magic, while this wolf will be very aggressive. So it's oh my god, are you just...
Yeah, I'm going in. I'm trying to take whatever I can get, because this is panic mode now. You have to imagine how my mind is working in this. The amount of unknowns that could happen, like you see him pulling out his staff I think right there. Like, so I'm having to pay attention to like where he is, and then know that if I get a projectile, I need to be moving constantly just in case, so it doesn't hit me. So like right there, you see that, yeah. And ideally, you want to keep, if you ever have this happen, it will happen at some point probably, especially if you're like a little bit newer to this and you can't manage to kill him properly. There, I get him. But you want to keep them both in your line of sight. You don't want one being behind you and one being in front, because this wolf dashes all over the place like a maniac.
He does, yeah.
And Gravetender just has the projectiles. So they have a lot of authority, like in terms of covering space.
Right. And so once this wolf goes into his second phase of the fight, he's pretty much dead. You do enough damage with the Twin Blades, you don't need to worry about anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And easy peasy. The hardest part of the Gravetender fight is that phase transition right there, because by itself, the Gravetender fight isn't really a problem. But when those two enemies are together, it can be bad.
Something to add also, if you're going to do the strat where you pivot around him and get the backstab like you saw, you can get Hornet Ring for more damage if you prefer. But at 50% health, maybe like 50 to 40%, you can get him up to 40 and then he'll still do this. He'll call the wolf, he'll do an animation, and you can punish that animation with a few attacks, or just go in for a backstab and then another couple when he gets up. So that's really easy to exploit. And it's guaranteed, rather than just trying to, you know, get the Hornet Ring and go over that point and then try to kill him with like about a third health left.
But at the same time, when he's in that animation, he can actually cancel out of it. If you run towards him sometimes, he'll just... I don't know why he does it, but he'll just cancel out of it with a roll. So, you
just gotta be really fast, typically. But you'll get used to it, though. Just pay attention to that little back step when he puts his hand up and calls the wolf.
Okay, now we're in Screamerville. So this is where you go and you turn your sound down.
Yeah.
There's about 17 of these Corvians screaming at me. Yeah.
That's all you're gonna hear.
Miyazaki likes, I don't know, he likes screaming things.
Yeah, he likes death metal secretly.
Yeah. It's a little bit late on the sound thing.
This guy,
skull for this guy.
This guy's called Valdo because he looks like Valdo from Soul Calibur.
Oh, he does. You're right.
Yeah, he's got the claws.
Valdo Bird.
Valdo Bird.
Valdo
and
Bird.
Sometimes at this ladder, you'll have one of the crawlers on the ground right at the ladder, and they can bite your feet as you're walking up. So you want to kill them if they're close. If they're not close, don't worry about it, because you have to really just use your time frame wisely. But 2 skulls for the Valdo Bird guy, and you should be able to have enough time to kill the one by the ladder if it's blocking you. That should die in about 1 hit if you're buffed, maybe 2 depending on your dex, but just go for like 2 swings and you should be safe on that.
Yeah, and then right here next.
You really don't want to chance it. Yeah, so this little, you can explain this if you want.
Yeah, this is like basically the tree jump, except in rock form.
And you don't have to jump. You don't have to jump, actually.
You can sprint up it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
You can pivot. You can pivot. So when I had jumped right there, I didn't actually need to. I was already on it. But I used to do it with jumping because I felt like that was the only way I could do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not something that we practice too much. But that's just a way. You can go an alternate way there where you have to run past a few Corvians, but that's just a way to make it a little bit easier, safer, less enemies to deal with. And here we're coming to Wilhelm, who is an absolute, he's terrible, man. And I don't remember if you were doing different strats on him at this point or not, but usually what you do with Wilhelm is you just run him around the gravestones until he runs himself off the cliff.
Or comes back from the dead and haunts you. Mysteriously.
Do that?
Yeah, he does. You've never seen that before?
I've had him climb back up the cliff somehow.
I've had him literally fall where there's no way he could have actually lived, and he's hanging on with a pixel on his toe, and then you go in the building, and then he appears back around the corner again.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that could happen, man.
So because of that, the way I'm handling it right here is I'm waiting for him to run at me. I'm standing a little bit back from this pillar, maybe about 5 feet, and I bait a couple attacks. So rolling through those, I wouldn't recommend. I'd recommend you space that by backing up if he does it. But typically he'll do a running attack, and you just roll past him, and he puts him in the perfect spot right around this rock, and you just kick him, and you keep kicking him. He can't attack you. He can't attack you at all until he's behind that pillar that he just passed. So this whole area is safe to do this. And then you can hit him in the head. I like to do a jump attack. Hitting him in the head might be safer for you because you don't have to worry about the distance of your jump and running off, but doing a running R2 onto his head when you're locked on, if you can kind of practice the distance of it, that's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah. Alternatively, like that strat scares me. That's a very scary thing.
He will guaranteed die though. He will not be able to come back if he falls off in that spot. So,
He will guaranteed die, right?
Yeah.
So what I would do if you don't like that is just run around the gravestone, and he will run himself off the cliff after you do it enough. Which is a little bit simpler. You don't have to dodge too many attacks or anything. I got a sub 1 sec.
Okay. Also, Bearded Belgian, thank you for the host, man. And Mind Eraser, thank you for the 21 months in a row. Biggest Mistake, thank you for the 4 months in a row.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
All right, so here's a section coming up that basically you're going to need, I think, about 10 skulls for. Like, you want to be maxed on your skulls before you attempt this. Pop-up Green Blossom, you can strafe past these guys. They won't ever hit you.
It's got to be really, really quick and make sure you're not slowing down.
Yeah, you're going to come up here, and then you're going to go past the bell and throw a skull. I believe you do this. Yeah, right at the bell.
Yep.
And then you're going to throw another skull a little bit further up at a tree.
You don't have to throw the skull where I did right there. You'd throw it typically at this tree right here.
Yeah, this tree.
Yeah. I just did an extra one for safety precaution. If you're being chased and you know that you won't have time to throw it at the tree, then throw an extra one. So one right there for the dogs. That's really smart. And then you throw another one, and the dog's going to jump around the corner, and you can just run past it. And this is the most skulls you'll ever use in one area in the game. It's
ridiculous. Yeah, you need so many. Just because there's so many dogs scattered throughout this, and you can't possibly run through all of them, and then deal with these guys coming up. Oh my god.
So there's 2 ways to handle this that are really good. That's one right there where you slow down, you dodge the arrow, so you can get ready for the dodge on the attack, but you hang back because you want to pull the arrow out first, so you don't actually dodge into the arrow when you're running by the guy that swings, and his swing just kind of like roll catches you. Or you can go on the right side, more to the right side of the cliff where the drop off is, and then kind of space the arrow by running left, and it'll just go beside you, and then you just roll the attack from the guy. That's also another really good way to do it.
So this is interesting. Instead of falling down, you're gonna go and unlock the door to the chapel. Maybe you're resetting the bonfire or something.
I'm resetting the bugs. Yeah. I'm resetting the bugs.
Bugs, just so that they're in a proper place, so that you can predict them. Okay. So what Skull's going to do after this is he's going to go back down to where he was. He's going to drop off, or he's going to get the frostbite ring first. He's going to chillbright ring. Sorry, drop off, and then he's going to spin a lever or a pirate wheel, whatever it is, and that's going to basically open the way to the Freed boss fight. And in order to do this, he's going to have to dodge a ton of really gross bug enemies that spew maggots and stuff like that. There's like 20 of them or something. Yeah. And there's so many of them that throwing skulls here doesn't really guarantee, because there's an entire room of them and they're coming from every direction.
So I like to run straight across this plank. There'll be a dude that occasionally tries to, he'll come from the corner of the camera, the left-hand side, and go over you or into you, and you can just dodge him if you get used to it. He does like a Superman dive. That's the one bug you have to worry about. But typical case scenario is you just get around the corner and homeward bone. The reason I'm doing that is actually I just remembered. You're actually saving yourself from having to go to the back up the staircase and through the invisible wall right at the top of that staircase. And because you go through that invisible wall, if you do it the other way around, since you don't have the bonfire, there's a bug that can actually get you through the wall.
Really?
Yeah. You can get hit through the wall going back to the big doors that you opened to the bonfire.
Oh, man.
So you don't want to do that.
And here's a quick RTSR setup. You can actually drop straight from the top of the ladder. I think you were just distracted or something. You can drop straight from the top of the ladder, and then you can go 13 rungs up and then drop down again, and you'll have perfect RTSR setup. 13 rungs up is where fall damage starts happening. So if you ever see us count to 13, and anything below 13, you're not going to get fall damage. So that's why we do 13.
Yeah, I get it. I think I get it in just like one drop and then a half or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
you can experiment with that. Basically, just one full fall, you'll be fine, and then just a little bit extra.
A little bit extra, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I put on Frostbite Ring here first because the meter that pops up immediately when you put it on, it's going to make it more difficult if you put it on later in the fight when you actually have to worry about the Frostbite, which mainly is phase 2. So you don't want to switch it on in phase 2. You want it on first. You want to wait a little bit, or have there's a Rhine Moss clump, the blue one that you get in Irithyll at the bonfire. when you go across the bridge for Pontiff, the Pontiff dog thing, and then you get to the first Irithyll bonfire that's actually in Irithyll, there's an item right next to it around the fountain that will instantly cure the frostbite from that ring. So you can just pop it and go right away, or you can wait for it. You can go in and just do it even with the bar still. Phase 1, you shouldn't get frostbite. The second phase is mainly the one you have to worry about for that. That's, yeah.
Yeah, and frostbite, again, for anybody who doesn't know, frostbite does not count as a hit unless the meter fills up and you take damage from it. Right, just the frostbite buildup, it's like poison buildup. Unless it procs, it doesn't matter. So what the chill bite ring does is it makes that meter, it like doubles the length of the meter, so it gives you a lot of leeway to walk through ice AOE and things that would usually cause frostbite a lot faster.
Yeah, you have at least double the chance of the time frame that you have before you get frostbitten. Also, don't take Cheerios from Papa A, because he's eating his Cheerios right now.
He's not has soup. He's chugging his soup.
Well, I don't know. Maybe he puts soup and Cheerios together.
Okay, Cheerio soup.
Cheerios
it's like
soup.
Alphagetti.
Yeah, there you go. Soggy grain Cheerios soup stuff.
Oh.
All right, so Frida, she's really fast. You're going to have to practice this a lot to get good at it, but we're mainly focusing on backstabbing her and then punishing the wake up from the backstab, which is guaranteed.
You want to fight her at a distance as well, because fighting her close, she'll always opt to do the 3-hit combo or delay the last hit. You want her to basically go for invisible and then jumps, like what just happened, or her wind up frostbite jump, like she could have done there.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of attacks to learn, but the most important thing and the biggest question I get is how do you like know where she's going to go when she goes invisible? So it's all dependent on the formation of the snow on the ground. If there's just one big burst going upwards and there's no direction, see right there how it was on the right side of where she was before she disappeared, then she's going the opposite direction. So technically her right, our left, because we're looking directly on. But the snow will always be on the opposite side of her foot from where she was before, and then you need to go not where the snow kicks up, but the other way. It kind of makes a little bit of a drift pattern. So pay attention to that. And then if it's just a circle that goes right up, that's just over your head. That's once you recognize that, you'll be able to actually get a time advantage by getting to her sooner, so you can, you know, just take your mass destruction tools out and destroy.
Easy.
So if she's against a wall too, and she has a lot of health, I like to go for a charged R2 attack because it staggers her and then you can get out of there. Yeah, because she can do this weird hyper armor attack that's not interruptible unless you've already done 3 attacks up to the point of it happening with the twin blades. Yeah.
yeah.
There's some complicated stuff on this. Yeah.
There's some complicated stuff. Yeah. No, I just, you know, she jumps over you, backstab her, you can do a charge R2 and attack her one more time. This second phase, they share health. So Squilla doesn't do it here. But right at the beginning of the second phase, you can actually run straight up to Freed with a running attack and attack her 3 or 4 times, depending on when she jumps back, to get their HP a little bit down. It'll make the fight a lot faster.
Alternatively to that, though, also, you can throw a throwing knife and she'll jump over your head. And
really?
what happened right here was I got an attack that's good to explain. So almost getting frostbitten there. And that wouldn't have happened if I had thrown the throwing knife. So if you run to Papa H after the throwing knife, a little bit to the left, you take like that same line that I took to him. So a little bit on like the left of where those 2 steps are, those 2 ledges, not where the snow is, but where the fire is burning on the left side. There's a chance that he will do that attack right there. That fire breath attack is the biggest ticket to getting the most damage right away. And if you threw the throwing knife, she'll be far away, so she can't get to you quick enough. And then what happens is once you've taken enough health, she'll have to heal him, and then you get free chances to either go for him or cancel her from healing him and finish it off. If that doesn't happen, if you can't set that up properly, just keep that in mind. You're going to want to just be very careful, being aware of where they both are at the same time and trying to strafe the ice, maybe get some elbow shots like right here, getting away.
You gotta keep them both in camera at the same time. Like you want to very much listen to the audio cues for this fight, because Freed will, you know, kind of be all over the place, and you can hear her when she does her ice trail, as well as because you have the chill bite ring on, you have to decide which ring you want to not use for this fight. And you can either opt for more damage with the Pontiff ring, or you can just opt to keep your Karthus ring, but you can't get rid of RTSR, and Flynn's ring isn't very good to get rid of either.
Yeah, I highly recommend getting rid of Karthus Blood Ring because you don't really have to iframe anything directly in this.
Yeah,
it's really easy either way. Like even if you do have to dodge the bowl, it's not that big of a deal. One thing to mention: when he does the bowl swing attack, you can actually get hit from the back of his legs. So don't run too. Don't get.
You can.
Don't run too close when he's doing that attack right there. When you're behind him, even if you have the advantage and you want to trail him and get his feet, just make sure you're really careful because the backs of his knees will kill you. When he does the crawling one with one hand, that doesn't really happen as much, so you don't have to worry. But just be careful when you're behind him until he stops.
Yeah, he has a pretty big hitbox there. So, but you can punish that attack like 3 or 4 times. Like a lot of the attacks you can punish in this fight are from Ariandel, Papa Ariandel.
So you want to focus on him mainly, yeah.
You want to focus on him. Freed, you can't really punish too much except for when she's healing. She's a lot riskier because she has a lot more attacks that are, quicker and harder to dodge. But once this is done, you get a little bit of a breather where he'll talk to you for a while. And if you wanted, you could switch your rings over, because you're going to want Karthus Blood Ring for the 3rd phase of Freed. But 3rd phase of Freed is very much, again, based on backstabs. So a lot of attacks you could run under, a lot of attacks you can strafe, and then you're going to do the same thing you did in phase 1. You're going to backstab her and then do a charged R2. And if you have enough stamina, you can follow it up with an L1. Like right here, you don't do it here. I think you do it now, but you can run under that attack and backstab her there.
Yeah, the safest way I found to do it actually is running in a circle around her to the right.
Okay.
Because she'll be spinning and you can see her constantly above your head as you're rotating around, and you'll never be able to get hit if you do it properly. Good examples of that is a speed run. So you watch any speed run, any good speedrunner in this game will do that. And then what happens is she has like poise or hyper armor in the beginning where she can't be staggered. And you get 1L1 and then you get a backstab right after. So that's 2 attacks instantly that you've punished that with that give you really good damage. And after the backstab, you just go right into the. So you would have already seen her at like, maybe like a 1/3 of health taken easily out of that first attack. That's guaranteed.
Man, Squilla, you do so much sketchy shit. So this attack right here, I stopped punishing it because it cost me 2 runs. Where she goes invisible and she jumps, what she can do is if she's against a wall or something, she can do more than 2 trails. Sometimes she'll do 3, sometimes she'll do 4. And if you're near her when it happens, her weapon will hit you and it'll cause a hit. So I prefer not to punish this anymore. And it's really scary what you do because she's right next to a wall and you can't get the backstab off.
Yeah, I actually got a 1-hit practice run for the tournament recently on her by getting staggered from her in that stance.
In that stance, yeah.
Like what happened to you, pretty much. And I was like, I've never seen that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. She'll just do something.
It's when she jumps away to become invisible initially. That's the one that got me.
This is an attack that's a really good attack to punish. You just dodge into it at a specific timing. And you can get a backstab, no problem. That's one of the safest attacks to punish. It doesn't look safe, but it is.
Yeah, this one right here, you're going to want to dodge. When she does the jump in the air and then glides toward you, you're going to want to dodge through it, run, and then do a circle while waiting for the ice to explode. And right after it explodes, you want to run up and get it. It's really quick timing, but you'll get used to it. You just don't want to run in immediately. You want to kind of do like a little bit of a semicircle around it after you've run away from it after you've dodged her and then run back in.
Yeah, if you run into it too early, the ice will explode and you'll end up dying. Right there again, Squilla could have run under or the attack there and
or around,
kind of backstab or around, yeah. You can do the same thing with this attack. It's the exact same attack with her other weapon.
But no ice shows up behind her, so you can instantly punish it instead of like the one that didn't have the blue glow when she was in the air. That one's the one you have to wait for. So no blue glow means that you wait for the ice to explode behind her. Blue glow, you can go for the backstab immediately.
Yeah. You get used to it. There's like a lot to learn in this fight, but once it's practiced enough, it's good. It's just really hard to practice this fight because you have to do the first 2 phases before you can practice the 3rd phase every single time. Okay, so from here, that's Ashes of Ariandel done. Those are the only 2 bosses in Ariandel that you have to worry about. Squilla is going to go and do the optional, like the vanilla optional bosses now, or I guess half of them. I would usually at this point go to Ring City and do that DLC, but I think Squilla said, "What did you just blow on a fly? What was that?"
I was gonna say for anyone that doesn't know what vanilla means the main game that does not include optional content or DLC content.
Yeah, it's true. God damn flies, man.
No, I wasn't blowing a fly. I was about to
Yeah.
say something, and then I was like, no, I'm not going to.
Okay. All right. Anyway, yeah. So you got to do Osiris first, out of the optional bosses. Like, out of the main optional bosses. So ODK and Tree Balls, Old Demon King and Curse Rot and Greatwood are the easier optional bosses. That's why Squilla tackles them later. The harder ones are Osiris, Champion Gunner, and Nameless King, as well as Chain Snack, if that's considered a boss. But in order to get to Nameless King, you gotta beat Osiris and get the gesture behind him. And in order to get to Champion Gunner, he's also behind Osiris. That's why we do Osiris first. Now, Osiris is a very tricky fight. This is a fight that took us a long time to learn and a long time to develop strategies for, because for one thing, his hitboxes are very, very wonky. They're very weird. And the second thing is, in his second phase, he has an attack with absolutely no telegraph. It's called the insta charge, where he'll just charge, and if you're in front of him or near him or anything, and you're not dodging, you're going to take a hit. So what we do for that attack, and you'll see it happen, is we actually pre-dodge that attack based on the attack he does before it, or based on his positioning or the direction he's facing.
Yeah, so the example of that would be like, you just have to know every instance that it could possibly happen, and you might not have it happen sometimes, but you're going to want to preemptively dodge on the recovery of the attack before it could happen, or when he rotates and faces you, which is another indication that it could happen. It sounds crazy. Yeah. There's going to be like 25% of the time, 30% of the time, whatever, that he does not do it, and you just look stupid, but it's the only way to do it. It's literally the only way to... There's literally no warning. It just instantly happens. That's it.
Yeah, no, you're not. We're not roll spamming or anything. We're getting ready for an attack that might happen and might end a run, and you just have to. You cannot predict it.
Yeah, there's no other way.
With telegraphed movements or anything. So so right here during this elevator, it's a little bit scary, but if you drop at a very specific place, you will get RTSR. There's a backup strat because you can drop a little bit further into the toxic swamp after. But basically, what I do is I look for the very bottom of that little window there, and I drop off as soon as I see it.
It's like a little triangle diamond kind of shape in the dead center above the archway, or the cutouts and stuff.
And if you don't get RTSR right away, you can just drop off of that a little bit higher than you originally would, and you'll get it there.
Yeah, so, and then again, a recommendation, if you don't get RTSR, you just fall off onto the stone staircase and then fall off the stone staircase into the swamp, not from the ledge and skip the stone staircase. And if you need a lot of fall damage, then you can just fall off the ledge and skip the stone staircase, but you typically can have a little extra if you fall off that stone staircase at the top. That's the only way to correct it, basically. And you want to move fast here because you're on a time frame where those enemies are walking around. It's explained earlier in the video, most likely, that those pus of man hollows that are infected with the black stuff, they move on a route that is not affected by you entering the area. It's constant, it's real time, so you actually have to move through there at a certain pace to not get cut off by one of them. So you're going to want to move quickly right after you set up Red Tear Stone. Throw a skull for the one guy, and then dodge these Cathedral Knights, which might take some practice, but they don't have too many attacks. Oh, here you can explain this.
So right here you'll see Squilla roll as soon as he gets out of the cutscene, because the Cathedral Knights can actually attack you through the fog gate and kill you. It's happened quite a few times. It's a really terrible way for a run to end. For Osiris here, what you're waiting for is you're waiting for basically slam attacks. You can punish slam attacks. You can't really punish swings too well. And the problem with Osiris's first phase is he likes to back up into walls, which isn't good, because then the positioning's off and it's just not favorable. You want about 5 hits, and then you're going to push him into his second phase. From there, you want to attack him as much as you can, like a ton of times, while he's transitioning, because you don't want to spend a lot of time in the second phase.
Yeah, never exhaust all your stamina, though, after the first tailspin, because then he can rotate and go into the insta-charge. That was an example of a kill that was really, really good because the speed of it. And I can actually recommend now, if you use Gold Pine bundles on him, there's 6 you can get for free without having to get the ashes that I was talking about earlier, the Xanthus ones. The Gold Pine bundles kill him so fast that you might not even have him do an insta-charge, especially if you're getting counter hits like I am right here. Like the counter hits are from him staggering, and it makes a thud sound. You have to get trapped in his leg, though, to actually be brought along with him, or hit his tail as he gets pushed forward. Otherwise, you'll push him away from you, and then you'll miss the chance.
Do you remember this fight when it was a Stora's straight sword and it took longer than 20 seconds?
Oh yeah.
When it was like, when it was very, very time intensive, where there was
twin
multiple
blades
intercharges per fight. Yeah,
twin blades were basically just like a cheat code, man.
There's such a cheat code, man. Oh my god. Like the time and effort that actually goes into this fight is a lot more than it seems. This is a scary fight.
Although it's cool because people still prove that like they can do this stuff without twin blades, like Gino doing the no upgrades and stuff like that. And
yeah, that's pretty ridiculous.
People using unique weapons.
Yeah.
Cool. Also, cool. He's kind of a bitch because his tail can like trap you from getting to the door.
Yeah,
when he dies.
And not only that, you actually can't quit out of this fight when you kill him because he talks when he dies.
Mm-hmm.
So if you try and quit out for practice, like you're like, oh, I want to quit out and do it again, he will stop you from quitting out with his dialogue. And it's just like, okay, well, I guess I better have a save file.
Yeah, so this guy right here, I don't remember what I do for this. I might wait for him to get to the corner and then kill him. But you can actually do a running attack behind him, and then it'll do almost all of his health. If you have Red Tearstone and a bundle, it could kill him in one hit, typically. But let's just say you have to do 2 attacks. On the second attack, after you running attack him, with him facing away from you, walking away down that other hallway, he will possibly dodge out of the way. Like a karate master. So I don't know if I recommend that. You can try to get used to it and like wait for him to do something else and punish it or run away. But I like to wait for him to turn around here. Let's see if we get him in one shot.
Yeah, if you're done with Osiris, you don't want to take a hit from this guy. This guy, he's like these snacks are really bad too. They don't respond to alluring skulls, and they can parry you. They have like this parry stance where there's this you double bundle there.
Well, because I triple bundle. I'm just being fancy.
Quadruple bundle. Oh man.
So yeah, the one shot and he's dead. If you just tiptoe behind him and then do that regular attack. So the regular attack actually will get you more damage than the running attack. That'll solve the problem with the amount of decks we have right now and the Red Tearstone still active. Yeah, because you don't have to. So I heal so I can get the setup again right here and then the second drop.
Okay.
But alternatively, you can keep the Red Tearstone and kind of skirt the left side of that cliff, and there's a little like staircase of stones going down that you can kind of slide down, and then you won't take any fall damage. Same thing for the next ledge coming up right here. You can just kind of like carefully walk along the left side of the drop off, and you can take no fall damage. But just in case that gets screwed up, I like to heal once and then jump there and jump again here.
Yeah, and you just got to be careful. Like, you have to do this section fast because there's a lot of enemies chasing you here. And a lot of the enemies have throwing knives, and that's why Squilla killed that guy, because he doesn't want to get a throwing knife in the back. And arrows as well. But,
So you can listen for the sound cues. You can listen for the sound cues. I like to kind of like run a little bit to the left and eventually cross over so the arrow will miss, but you can look behind you too.
Okay, no resin for Champion Gunner. You only hit him once.
Yeah, one regular R1, so we can not put him into phase 2 too soon, because once his health hits a certain point, then he goes into a harder mode where you're going to have to dodge a lot more attacks. So I have his health just perfectly under the point where that combo would not put him into phase 2. If I did a regular L1 though, instead of the R1, he would have too much health taken, and the fight would actually require me to do an extra parry. So
you know what we're going to do, Squilla?
What?
Oh, continue. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, that's all I was gonna say.
Okay, well, that's the Champion Gunner fight. I'm gonna show both versions of this fight because Squilla does bare hand parries, and you actually have to parry him quite a bit, and it's really scary. And we'll watch this fight, and then well, you can explain if there's anything else.
What I'm waiting for is the running attack like this. You can do whatever you want. You can pick any attack you want. I typically would recommend the running charge with the spin or the running attack, because it's always something that you have enough time once it starts to kind of get ready for. It's a long telegraph, but they are both really quick. The pairing you're gonna have to go over a lot. Pick one attack though, one of those two. I highly recommend the one that I'm doing right here, and because when you learn that, you're not going to get thrown off by a different timing. There's not going to be a dynamic of things you have to get ready for. Because you could learn how to parry every attack he does and kill him way quicker, but that's a lot of mix-ups, and when you only have so many frames with your bare hand, that's not as consistent, right? Same thing for Pontiff that I explained earlier. The only reason I parry that swoop is particularly because it's the same thing to expect. There's less of a chance that I could screw that up, so... Yeah.
Oh man, that's not good. Okay.
So yeah, you can show the other Gundyr if you want to.
Okay, I'm gonna double up on your screen for a second. But this is so if you don't want to do bare hand parries on Edex Gunder, on Champion Gunder, you can do what I do here. So I don't like parrying very much, so I choose to do Gunder differently. In his first phase, I'm going to hit him 4 times right off the bat. You can run up to him and hit him 4 times, and then you can hit him one more time before the phase transition happens. And you need to be away from him for the phase transition. Also, his first phase is different than traditional Edex Gunder because he can kick you. So he's going to do a lot of attacks like this, where he's going to charge into you. And what you're going to do there is you're going to strafe. Sorry, not strafe. You're going to run away from it, space it, and then you're going to dodge into the last attack, just like you do with Aldrich's Scythe. And then from here, you're going to space as much as you can, and you're going to sprint into him every time he sprints into you, and punish his attack if it's punishable.
Wait, I was trying to start the video. Wait, were you just taking a break to explain?
That was a glitch, right?
No, man, can you not see?
No, I can't see where you're at in the video.
Really?
Yeah, we're gonna have to do that. Go back to the part that you need to be at.
All right. Hold on. Maybe we can get a Osiris insta-charge too. Can you see Osiris right now?
Yeah. We should probably go over that really quick, just in case.
Let's see if we can get an insta-charge here. I don't know if we will or not.
Farming RNG in a video. That's pre-recorded.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. That crystal stuff where you just have to run away, that's the most annoying thing. Osiris can spam this over and over again. I'm sorry to go between Champion Gunder and Osiris when we were, kind of doing Champion Gunder, but I want to see if we got an insta-charge here that we can show you.
Yeah, so there's a question about shields being allowed in this run, and I think that you can if you want to. Not for blocking, but for parries if you wanted to, that's cool. I just never allowed it for myself because I felt like if I was going to do the parries, I should make them the hardest parries you can do. It's just a thing for me. Oh, did he do it? Or?
No, he's doing his little crawl.
So you get him before that.
Yeah, so he can either crawl or he can insta-charge there, and you'll see me pre-dodging that.
You'll get used to the times that once you die enough to the insta-charge, you'll start to see patterns in when he can go for it, and then all you got to do is start testing and experimenting with the timing you start the roll.
Yeah.
Which would be like on the recovery, the ending of the animation before it, or the attack that he does before. And he has to be facing you to insta-charge. You can't insta-charge away from, he can't be facing the other way after a tail spin. He'll have to tail spin, then rotate, then insta-charge.
Yeah, not like board or anything. Okay, yeah. You can see where we are, like Champion Gunder, etc., right?
Yep.
All right, so with Champion Gunder, I'll just explain it again. You can hit him 4 times while he's getting up, and his HP threshold dictates you need to hit him 5 times with the current dexterity I have, which is around 70 or so. Well, I think it's around 60 actually.
Yeah, at least over 60 at this point.
He transitions, and when he transitions, he'll do a stagger in the area around him. That will result in a hit if you take the stagger. So that's why I dodge away from it here. This charge attack is one of his main punishable attacks. You need to space it and then dodge into it at the very end. This is another punishable attack where you have to basically sprint into it and strafe the slam attack he does. And then you just keep doing that over and over and over. And if you are fast enough, if you get good RNG and you're lucky with things like these, you can actually stagger him and he'll just die because he takes double damage while he's on his knees, So that's what you're aiming for. Those are the 2 variations of the Squilla fight and my fight. We can go back to Squilla's video now.
Yeah, Grammage, I don't recommend Grasscrow Shield because the weight from it takes away your damage from Flinzering.
No. Can you scrub or no?
No, it's not letting me. We were roughly 329, 330-ish.
Okay, I can scrub. I'm good. 330-ish?
Oh, apparently Warwitch subbed for the first time on that run.
Oh, man, Warwitch.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can't really fast forward. No, I can. Okay, good. So yeah, after Nameless King, you got the gesture from Osiris. Not after Nameless King. Champion Gunder's done. Now you're going to go to Nameless King, and Nameless King and his area is the hardest section out of the vanilla optional bosses.
You think so? Out of the vanilla. Yeah, out of the vanilla. True. That is a good point. Yeah, so with Chainsnake, the dude is just basically using an axe on a chain. The axe can go through walls. It can go very far and then retract, and the retraction is an attack. It reminds me of Orphan of Kos, actually, with the yo-yo. It's like a yo-yo attack where pulling back the yo-yo, drawing his weapon in, is actually doing damage constantly. And I guess you'll see how we punish him on that, but there is one attack he does that I really like to go for that's like fire. So
yeah, you can get behind him.
But he's mainly the actual boss in Wyvern, not the Wyvern itself, but Chainsnake, the big guy.
Yeah, because what you're going to have to do here is we're going to go through Profane Capital all the way back. There's going to be an RTSR setup in a running section. We could probably skip through that. But once we get to Archdragon's Peak, like, it's a very specific route we have to run. There we go. Okay, you're just back. To safely get through all the enemies, and even then, there's a lot of risk and a lot of stuff you potentially have to dodge. So here you're running past the jailers again. Squilla's going to wait for them, which is safe. And then he's going.
Once they're in that position where you can see on the they're coming back around on that left side. I'm gonna wait until they are in a really good spot where I think it's almost like a crescent moon or like a half circle. Oh, I think I homer boned here. Yeah, I don't know why I did that. That didn't need to happen, but okay. I think there's just a lot of nerves at this point, so I'm making sure I'm careful. But yeah, you want to wait for them to be in a good spot and run through. And that's definitely the best way to go about it. And then even if the jailers are poking out, I see how I got the animation there, but I didn't get the drain because I was just perfectly out of the range when the attack started.
It's scary, Squilla.
Yeah.
And then he's going to use this elevator to set up the rest of his RTSR. There's no safe place in Archdragon's Peak to set up RTSR, so you got to do it in Yormville.
Yep. Yeah. I think I fall off twice. Or maybe what I do is I'd fall off here and then I fall off again.
Yeah. It's deceptive because this elevator drop, it actually does a lot more fall damage than you think it will. So, you got to be careful. I've died here a few times.
Ha! What a scrub.
Oh, man.
Just kidding. But yeah, what else is there to mention? I guess trying to think of like what path do you take when you go up here? I guess we'll get to that in a second.
I just run straight, and then at the bridge I run left and around it because, Big Axe Man can come drop down. And the main thing that you actually have to worry about in this run is that fireballs can hit you in the back. So the pathing is very specific because you can't, it's not great to dodge enemies in front of you while you're looking behind you. So usually what we'll do is we'll take a very specific path and then swerve to the left or the right at a very specific point because we know that there's potential for a fireball at that exact position.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're gonna really want to watch out for fireballs, even on this first part too. So I think the way that I'm going about this, you don't actually have to do it this way, but it's a bit safer than how I do it now. The way I do it now is the way you do it on a speedrun, where you just run straight. This first guy, he can do some attacks that go over your head, so you could space them, but I recommend just dodging him either way, and then kind of lining up the timing so the fireball that comes first hits that tree. And then I go through here, I watch for that guy on the right, and I dodge him. I feel like that's not as safe as going around the other way, but you'll get used to their attacks and be able to get through there if you just really pay attention to the fireball timings and worry about those first.
And then when Squilla looks back here, that's because he's looking for a fireball. I don't know why it skipped ahead when I said go behind, but...
Yeah, and I also go around that way too, because that guy gets, he tries to follow you and then he loses interest. So there's a less of a chance that he'll actually run to the gate rather than going underneath that archway and not cutting around the left.
Yeah. Here you want to sprint completely an entire stamina bar without stopping, just so you can get past his foot before he sticks his foot out, because if he sticks his foot out, you'll get stuck on it and then you're vulnerable to attack.
Yeah, if you do get stuck on his foot though, what you can do is you just wait a moment and he'll move it eventually, but you're gonna have to get ready for an attack right after that potentially, because he'll be like, his head will be over you and all that. So here what's happening is Squilla's waiting for those enemies. There's 3 enemies on the other side of that wall. It takes 3
fire breath hits for them to die. So he's basically waiting for them all to die because, you don't want to run through 3 enemies and have them chase you through the rest of the split.
Yep. And what I like to do as well is if you don't see 3 health bars decreasing, you can hit the wall with your weapon and it'll make the sound through the wall will make the one enemy run out the door and then he'll get killed. So just to double check, I might actually do that just in case, but I always like to double check if it doesn't seem like all 3 of them died, because I've had plenty of times turning the corner and there's still a dude with a little bit of health left. And that's not good. So here, the way the fire rebounds on the wall actually is really dynamic. There's a lot of different shapes and like hitboxes that can differ on it, and some of them last longer. So if you had the same timing that would work one time, it won't work for the other. So you really have to just, I guess, kind of time when you're going to run around strategically. I like to look at the recovery of the wings. So when the wings go back up to that resting position, you can see him like dip his head down, the wings go down, and then they kind of like swoop and go up. As they're going up, I like to run, but I have to wait for the right timing of the fire as well. See how that ended sooner?
Yeah. This is going to be very scary, like no matter what. Anytime I'm here on a run, it's always scary because it's a very short window. And you're going to have to run into fire, and it's going to look like it's going to hit you in a lot of cases. In some cases, it does. But in order to get the timing down, you're going to have to run into it and say, okay, this isn't going to hit me. So Squilla says he waits for the wings. I personally wait for the head to come a little bit up. So when he stops breathing fire, his head retracts a bit, and that's when I run.
Yeah.
And oh my God, that's scary. Oh, all right.
Yeah. Yeah, safe. And you want to stay in that spot with that distance that I had when I was standing still, because if you stand too close to start running, even if your timing is good and you're going, at the right starting time, like the rebounding of the fire will hit you before you even get into like the corner. So
yeah.
So that right here,
this with a ton of decks and pine bundles, so he can actually one-shot these snacks. If you don't have the decks or the pine bundles or whatever, you can actually you have enough time to 2-shot each snack, but it's tight on timing. Also, but you got to attack that right snack and then the left snack sequentially.
Yeah, pretty quick. And the guy that falls down can actually stagger you with his foot.
Yeah, you can't get dropped on.
You gotta have really good spacing when he falls down. That guy that sneaks out right there, you can lock onto him before he dashes at you and aggro him to do a stabbing lunge, and then you just punish it with a running attack.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
And then up after that, you're going to go up the stairs. You're going to aggro another enemy, not the one at the top of the stairs, but one that's kind of watching him from a distance.
Yep.
And then this is scary. This has ended a few runs because he can be weird. He's going to run towards you, and you're going to time a running attack to kill him. But at random increments, he can kind of just stop, stop completely for no reason. And then you're going to have to watch out for that. So he's a very dangerous enemy.
Well, one modification I can recommend that's more consistent is hitting him at the top of the stairs, because he hasn't fully turned to go down the stairs yet. So you can hit him while he's still facing the other way.
Oh, that's pretty good too.
It's way, way safer if you're okay with not hitting the wall or anything. You will get him before he's rotated to see you.
All right, so I think you throw a firebomb here, don't you, or something?
Yeah. Throw a lightning urn. I do some phase MLG stuff right here. So I line up my head with the tower right there, and stand in that spot, and then try to snipe Chain Snake. I missed the first one. The lightning urns you pick up in the area actually do the most damage. So because of this, his health will be lower when I fight him, and it gets his attention too. Meaning that if I run out of my buff, or I just I'm struggling, he has less health.
Yeah,
it's always nice.
Doing it this way also leaves that snack in the background. He's not firing fireballs at you. Whereas I would usually run all the way up, aggro him, and then dodge a fireball on the way back.
Yep. He's going to be tricky to learn. Once you get it down, it should be fine, but he does a lot of sneaky attacks. He's got a lot of 2-piece combos with his axe. He's got the head punish behind the back. He's got fire breathing. Fire breathing's the best because it's the longest animation where he can't actually hit you with it if you're behind him. So we might see that here, but I like to just wait for that typically without punishing at all. I think I went for 1 running attack.
Yeah. You can only, when he's doing his melee attacks, you can only punish 2 pieces. Yeah. So you could never punish a single swipe, and I don't personally like to punish swings. I like to punish slams. So if he attacks and then his second attack is a slam like that, then I'll punish it. But otherwise, I'll just wait for the fire, like Squilla says.
Yeah,
Or
the head
thing
behind the
here.
back, the head behind the back's a safe attack to punish too, because he has to turn around again. So I kill him without even getting the fire here, maybe. But you'll see he does this weird pause animation right before he does the fire, and you could alternatively just wait far away, and that's really scary.
Ooh, man, I thought
That's
you died.
really,
I was like, it's like, is this not the run? Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that was really scary.
Yeah.
So right here we wait because this guy's we want him to go over the side of the ledge. He can get hit by the fire like you see right here, and that'll stagger you if he lands on your head. So you want to stand right at the corner where the wall starts so that when he falls over the edge, if that happens, he doesn't give you a stagger hit. Alternatively, he will sometimes not get hit by the fire. He'll run around the staircase, and therefore you'd go for a running attack. You do like a little mini circle sprint and then get into a running attack really quickly. That is easier than dealing with it this way if you're not ready for the stagger, but he dies pretty quickly anyways.
You just got to be careful for the wall there because you can bounce off the wall and then you'll just get hit. Here, Squilla heals. You got to make sure you heal. And it's notable too that if you heal once here, you can set up RTSR for Nameless King through specific movements. But you heal once here, and then you're going to walk past that guy. Hope he doesn't attack you on the ladder because there's been very few instances where he has, but it doesn't happen often. You're going to wait for fire here, and then you're gonna.
Well, the thing is, he doesn't attack on the ladder if you get him to walk far enough away towards where you healed.
Right.
So you just need to wait a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you wait for fire here. Make sure you wait for the fire. That fire can hit you through the ground, I believe. And well, I guess you're gonna wait a little bit longer. But oh no, you're just going for it. Oh man,
so you can wait for him to see if he's going to do the fire twice. I always recommend that. Don't do what I did there. I kind of knew that he wasn't going to do it again based on how long it took him to not do the second attack. But wait for two. Wait a long time. If he doesn't do two, you go for it. He can only do two fire breaths and that's it. And then he can't attack again. He'll just wait forever. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he'll literally just he'll never do anything again. You'll just be sitting there for like an hour. So I like to run off where there's a little rock. I don't know if we can go back and look at that really quick. There should be like a message on that ledge too, I think. Is there? Yeah, there's a message right in the spot, and the rock is slightly to the right of the message. So you just run over on the right of that message, sprint right off, and that's it. Don't roll, don't jump attack, don't do any of that, just sprint.
Yeah, make
100% consistent. Yeah, and you don't want to interrupt him as he's doing the fire. You always want to wait for him to have his resting position. So wait for those two fires, wait behind the message, so the fire doesn't hit you through the corner of the ledge where he's close to.
Yeah. It's tough. Yeah, I've missed him in runs before. If you miss Wyvern after beating Chainsneck, it's the worst feeling in the world.
Yeah.
So make sure you sprint off, don't roll off. And again, make sure you heal before that drop, otherwise you'll die, and that'll suck too. But don't heal to full. You only want to chug one Estus. That's it. Because the health you go into this next split with, Nameless King, is the health you need to properly set up RTSR. Because Nameless King RTSR setup isn't safe, isn't as safe as other RTSR setups. You kind of have to get it in one go. Otherwise, you're risking getting a hit.
Yeah, there's also an alternative way to set it up if you have full health at this point, but it's really, really not worth it, in my opinion, compared to just doing it along the way.
Make sure you don't fall on that snack. That snack that you don't see right now. Right there. Yeah. If you don't do anything to him, he just kind of leaves you alone. I don't know why, but if you fall on him, he'll attack you. So make sure you don't fall on that guy.
And then we're going to come up here and jump off this part. We're going to wait for the dude that's patrolling below to go underneath where we're jumping off, so he can't chase us as soon, because he can chase you across this whole bridge. And you only want to get like a little chip of damage right there. So I think I ran off. I didn't jump. You shouldn't have red tearstone at this point yet. You should be like close to it, but not have it yet, because there's one more jump we need to make. And then here is a point where actually there's a modification that's been made recently. Shout out to Positive. I don't know if he's here right now, but that wyvern will actually fly away from you consistently if you actually go in that corner, wait for him to land, and then run back to the window that has it's like a window ledge, and it has an item on it. It's really close along the right hand wall if you turn around, and you just stand there and he'll fly away. So you'll see that. You'll know what I mean if you look for it.
You just need to spend 2 skulls, I think, for those little roly-polies before then. And so, hey, look, RTSR is set up right there. That's very good. No, like
and you want to jump off that ledge where the magic caster is. You don't want to fall off it because it won't actually do fall damage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's important.
Yeah.
Oh man, and now we're going into Nameless King. So RTSR is set up. Remember that 1 chug, not 2. Nameless King it's a lot faster with the Twin Blades. Like, it's not as hard of a fight as people would assume. It was a lot harder when it was, pre-Twin Blade stuff, because he just the way his stagger mechanics are and the different attacks he can have in phase 2 and stuff. There's a lot to know in this fight for sure.
Also, there's a question: speedrun strats to kill Wyvern are allowed? No, they're allowed, but at this point in time, I didn't know how to do that. No one, even in speedruns, people didn't know that at this point. I don't think, or it wasn't like common to do the backup strats. It was more of like, I think it might have just been discovered. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was at that point. It was jumping off the platform.
The bell.
Yeah, the bell, which was inconsistent, and if you got a different attack, you were just dead.
But yeah, but don't quote me on that directly. Even then, I hadn't really speedran much, so I don't think I speedran at all at this point. That's why this run's so slow.
Yeah. So you're checking your rings, make sure you have everything good. You want to use, I believe, Dark Resin in this fight. I don't think it really matters because it's Twin Blades, but
yeah, fire or Dark Resin for phase 2. I think fire does a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah, lightning for phase 1, because the bird is really weak to lightning.
Yeah.
And I try to go for a fancy hit at the beginning. You're not always going to get that, but you can actually time it and hit his head as he's going through the midair, and you get a free chunk of damage.
For that attack that he just did, you really want to be underneath him when he hits, because there's the initial hit with the weapon, and then there's the hit with the shockwave of lightning, and it's really hard to dodge if you're not underneath him. Very fast kill here.
You're gonna want to also be like, your positioning for phase 1 is gonna want to be you're gonna want to be in front of the bird's face so you can see what Nameless King is doing, and that's the only way to practice it. Don't lock onto him. Literally just stay locked off and be in front of his head. If he flies, you can lock on to keep track on where he is. So here I like to just roll into that stab to get a follow up and then keep punishing it with rolling attacks. Now I'd recommend like what I do now is I basically get the follow-up and then I strafe around it and I get a 3-hit punish, because it's still going to be more likely that, you'll get more hits than than gambling that he's going to follow it up twice or 3 times to get those 3 attacks. But you can just keep rolling into him right there if you want to do it that way. It's less spacing heavy and all that. If you're behind him completely, he'll do a rotation with a really quick slam, so don't get straight behind him ever. You can avoid that.
And it's like, what in the first phase of this fight, you really what
did he do right there? Can you go to the slam, or did you skip? You might have skipped through that.
No, I rewound it.
Oh, okay. I was like, that's not supposed to happen.
Yeah. So in the first phase of this fight, the only things you really want to punish are the stabs and the slams. Unless the stab is a final stab, you only want to punish with a rolling attack. And slams you can punish with 2 attacks. If it's a swing attack where he's just swinging his weapon left and right, you only want to punish the second swing, and you only want to punish with a rolling attack, because if you punish it with a normal attack, he can swing again really quickly and you'll take a hit. Okay, phase 2. So phase 2 right here, you'll watch Squilla. I remember you actually getting hit by this, and by 1 pixel. I don't know if you remember that, but here, this is the phase 2 transition. You want to strafe to the right. It's notable that if he does this twice, on the second one, you want to strafe to the left, but this fight never lasts that long. You strafe to the right, and then you can pretty much just kill him. You
wait for the stagger. You make sure you get that stagger immediately, or if he doesn't have much health left, you can just spam him until he's dead.
Yeah, you can just kill him. So you don't even have to deal with his second phase, which is a really cool phase, but
the second phase.
The second,
and that's gonna consist of a lot of lingering hitbox, like lightning slams with his foot or stomps, and like also bolt tosses to the ground. They both have the same kind of effect, but like the timing on when he actually starts it up is going to be different for either. The stomp one's a little bit harder, and then he'll actually go back into the slam that he does to signify he's going into phase 2 again as a regular attack after his health is at half point, or I think the last third roughly. And that's actually really hard, because when you dodge the bolts of lightning from far away, it kind of spans out in like it's almost like, I think it's like 8 streaks of it or something, or maybe 6 or something. And you want to be like kind of dodging diagonally away from it to the right or the left, and just really getting good timing on it. There's no example in this because you should be killing him quicker before that even has the chance to happen, but that's actually the hardest thing in the entire fight. Because it's like you dodge the slam and then the streaks come out like 1 second after, and you can't dodge again for the streaks easily. So I like to just be in a spot where they go around me, and that's really scary. Yeah.
So you're buying bundles for the Ring City, and this is the hardest part of the run by far. These next fights coming up are
there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about. We're gonna have to make more in-depth videos for each boss. That is really difficult. Yeah.
These are gonna be like, this is gonna be a lot that's coming up here. So Skull is just getting skulls, resins, everything, leveling up. I think his decks will eventually get, well, I don't know if he'll level up anymore. Yeah, he still has souls, so we'll see him level up here. But it should be over 70 at this point.
Yeah.
And then he will also level up before each individual boss, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
we're going over 70. Yeah, we're gonna try to keep climbing that dex to 80. I think.
First
which
boss,
is crazy.
Well, first area. Okay, so first area is pretty simple. It's pretty easy. There's one part before Demon Princes where you have to deal with just one single angel, and everybody uses a different strat for this. But I think it's pretty consistent. Skip to this. Actually, I think yours is scary because you have to deal with a thrall.
Oh yeah, yeah. My method to do this is it's interesting. I think I'm still doing this part the same way at this point. But yeah, the first bit is just running through casually. It's not really that much of a challenge, other than just there is a dude that casts like it's like a dark magic kind of thing, and there's a pool on the ground where if you walk through it, there's a bunch of dark magic that'll pop out of the floor. So you want to be careful with that. That's like the only thing
like, you have to really worry about.
Yeah. Also, right here, when you're killing this pod guy right here, which controls the angel, the first one you'll see, there'll be streaks of the magic coming through his body that you have to kind of space when you attack. See right there how close that is?
Yeah, that was.
You don't. You want to wait. You want to wait until you see that first, then attack. Don't do it like I did. That's really scary. And I just kind of run around this right here. Stay away from
too
the pool.
long either, because that guy, the pod guy, can do like a body swing into you. He can actually attack you.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So here is this is the sketchy section. This is something you definitely have to practice, and this is why one of the reasons why you buy skulls. Well, actually, I don't know, Squilla. I don't know if you do it the same way I do, but I buy skulls and I use the skulls to bait out the thralls. I kill the thralls so I can run safely, but I think you just.
I let the angel kill one, and then the other one escapes. I think sometimes it gets both, but I'm usually fine here if I just wait.
Okay, you buff here. That's interesting.
Yeah, I get buffed because I'm about to go and like slam jam a dude that's underneath the cliff right here, and he's scary because you can rebound off the cliff wall. You need to specifically fall off this spot, roll right into the wall, and then see right there how I rolled twice. You can you can't get hit. You cannot get hit. It's impossible to get hit in that spot if you do it with good timing. It's not that scary if you practice it a bit, but the problem is landing with the roll consistently and hitting the thrall. So I like to land with the roll and then running attack and rotate it into the thrall. Alternatively, you can lock onto him if you've wasted time and you haven't got the roll attack, or you rebounded off the wall, and then he'll take a moment to turn to you. So you got time, but after a certain amount of time, if you keep missing, you're gonna get hit by him, and that's happened before. It's not good.
If you manage to kill both thralls, either through the angel or using alluring skulls, you can actually just not do that. You can just run straight to where Squilla jumped off and be fine.
Yeah, right there you kill the other guy that controls the angel that we just walked past, because he'll snipe you up on this hill right here.
Oh yeah.
As you're going over the ledge, it's not safe, so you need to kill that guy. We like to set up our TSR on this wall by sliding down.
You can actually take more damage than you mean to sometimes, just based on the game being weird. So
just make sure you're careful.
Caution. Yeah, when doing RTSR stuff here.
I would say never like fall off the very end of it. Just pick a spot that's in between.
Yeah. And so Demon Prince, this is actually what I consider the hardest fight of the DLC, other than Half-Light, but Half-Light's stupid. Demon Prince, the first phase, you're going to have two enemies. They're going to have the exact same attacks, and they're going to have two modes they can be in, basically. And you only want to attack. You want to kill the first prince as fast as you can, basically, and then the second prince. But you only want to attack, let's say you don't manage to do that. You only want to attack when one is in a passive mode and one is in an aggressive mode. You never want them both in aggressive modes because they can blindside you very, very, very easily.
There's many ways you can handle this fight. It's actually really interesting. It's probably one of the best fights in the game.
Oh yeah, it's a cool fight. Now, do you don't do laser prints here? You do?
I don't know actually. I don't like.
Prints?
I'd recommend learning both so you know the benefits of one or the other. The thing is, in the beginning right here, if you kill the one that's jumping over your head first, you can get a way quicker fight. I think I go for him. Yeah, I've started doing fire prints at this point, so
2 or 3 times there. And
yeah.
With the twin blades, these guys won't stagger. So you got to do pretty much as much damage as you can. I think it takes about 8 or 9 hits total. But you'll see here, Squilla wants to kill this guy before the other guy. Well,
now
that guy's done.
So this is a good example though, because if you don't get the kill quick enough, then you want to abort that and just run away.
Right. And
wait till you're safe. But because his health is still lowered, you're going to see him cool down first before the other guy that was already in the cooldown state. And then I believe that's your chance to
cool down, right?
So you're going to see how I get the stomp right here. You're going to want to wait for those. You can actually dodge into them underneath and then punish the other guy because this dude will stomp himself, or he'll crawl himself away from the one that's in the cooldown. But I don't do that right there. I'm just running away. I'm being very careful. And you can wait for them to switch up, so the one in the cooldown is the one that is not the target, and then the one that's the target's aggressive, and you can just lead the aggressive one away from the other, like it is when you start the fight, basically. So I wait for one full rotation of the switches.
Yeah, it's also notable that during his stomp attack, he's locked into that attack. So that's a perfect window to go and attack the other demon because you have about 5 or 6 seconds. Where you will not be attacked by the first demon.
Now they're both in the weird cooldown phase where that's probably the easiest part to wait for. You just got to be patient and you should be able to get away. Don't be running into any walls that are just like there's debris in walls you got to watch out for. So be careful with that. Get used to that. And then I get some free damage. Yeah. That's already half his health right there.
Yeah, it's a lot. And so the reason we do the demons in this order is because it's easy. It's an easier phase 1 to kill the demon from below first. It's an easier second phase if you don't go for the quick kill to kill the demon in pain first. But the first phase is where I find it's the most dangerous. You have the most
because more enemies
get hit.
More enemies, bigger possibilities.
More RNG. You can get roll caught sometimes if you're unlucky.
Yeah.
So that's why we go for the demon in below first. And the second phase now will be a pyromancer, and it's going to be a little bit harder, a little bit more to dodge, but if you're good at it, it's more consistent, I think, than...
Yeah, there's also a way to kind of stagger him now, like at least the way I do it now, where most of the time if you do it right, you won't even have to deal with his special attack. You'll kill him before he does it. And you're going to want to do these rotations either to the left or right, where you swing once and then you start moving or running behind him to his tail, and he'll keep spinning like an idiot, basically. And because you got free damage, you're built up towards the stagger, and then you can guaranteed stagger him right here. So we'll see if that happens.
I think it takes about 13 hits total to stagger him here. Squilla doesn't get it. So he's going to have to dodge the wing slam there, which will stagger him, and then he's going to strafe each of these fireballs while making his way to the boss, who is now doing his charge up thing, and then he's going to get, I think, maybe 3 hits before the meteors or comets come down.
Yep. And then you're going to want to have a rough idea of how many of those spurts happen so that you know you can kind of engage him as soon as you can. This is the hardest attack in the game to dodge, possibly. That one right there. If you're really close, you need to actually have some distance because it hits with a physical attack, and then there's a half-second delay where there's actual there's like fire that does more damage, and it's like just staggered basically. So it's like 2 different hits in one attack. Some people have told me like how do you do that? Like it's really hard. Like if you're in a spot where you're gonna have to be subjected to fire, your timing is gonna be within like a very small amount of frames. Like it's really quick. So yeah,
it's tough. You got to space that for sure. Now, if Squilla got the quick kill here, so basically what would happen is when he would. So ideally, you want to get 5 or 6 hits during this first little rotation area. And then from there, you got to make the other 13 hits up in one attack, plus his charge up for his second phase or whatever it's called. And if you get 13 hits, he will stagger. You can punish him by hitting him 2 or 3 times and then visceraling him in the head, and then he will do this animation again. Except he'll be at a low enough health where you can just kill him. That's what you're aiming for in this fight. And if you don't get it, then the second phase, you kind of just have to know how to deal with all the different attacks he can throw at you.
Yeah, we'll be making something in the future, I guess, that we can kind of go over each attack.
Yeah, we could do that.
Also,
that's Demon Prince.
Yeah, to clarify, when he's rotating in the beginning, or the beginning of phase 2, you want to do L1s, because V-Sweat just mentioned that.
Really? I do. Oh yeah. What? Why would you do R1s?
Well, I think that he just wanted to know for sure. He just wanted to make sure.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He's asking,
You do L1s, yeah.
Yep. Okay.
So we're done Demon Prince, and we're going on to Mitter now, and this is a massive running section. There's a lot of pathing and stuff you got to figure out. Like you know, there's a ton, but it's pretty straightforward. You just got to know when to dodge, how to dodge, and
I would say there's only one particular part in terms of like evading enemies that's actually really difficult in this for me, but I don't know how you handle that one.
The bridge? Is it the bridge?
It's where the butthole face guys are, the heralds.
Oh,
yeah. They're scary because they have like 3 different attacks they'll typically do, all different speeds, and if the one on the second side does attacks, the one that's on the right, which is gonna attack later, does a quick attack, and the one does a really slow one that's right in front of you that attacks first, then the mix-up of the timings are really, really hard to get away from.
That's true. Yeah, those guys are hard. And then there's usually a lightning guy who's throwing lightning at you. And
yeah, that's like the worst part, I think, of the entire DLC.
Okay, Oscar is asking, what is the most difficult non-boss portion of the no-hit run?
To learn from the beginning, I would say like archives, or possibly getting through Wyvern the regular way like we went through.
Wyvern sucks. I hate Wyvern. Although that's technically a boss.
So
Archives is
Archives is
very
rough.
difficult. Although this portion of the DLC, like this portion of the DLC right here, is also really like there's a lot to learn, a lot to know. Wow, you don't even dodge that guy; you just strafe him.
Yep, you can run right on that ledge. You got to be careful though. Like obviously, make sure you're careful, but don't go any closer than I did there. You'll get pushed. It doesn't matter how fast you are. You'll definitely get pushed over.
You can just dodge him too. But this, this is. I would say this is very difficult to learn. I would still say it's more consistent than Archives used to be. Okay, so you're gonna level up here.
And our dex is gonna be upwards of 75, I guess. So almost getting close to 80.
And again,
a little bit more endurance.
You kind of need this much dex just to deal with Half-Light. So the reason we get this much is because Half-Light is a very, very, very precise fight.
I could have just stopped leveling my endurance. I didn't need to do that. So you could just put once you get 30 endurance, just put all your stats in the dex. I mean, like you could even get away with 25 endurance in this. It's a little bit nice to have the insurance that if you get into a sketchy situation, you got the extra bit.
Yeah.
How much attack rating? Attack rating on the weapon right now would probably be in the 500s without RTSR.
Yeah, it's pretty high.
Yeah.
So it's a very specific path to run through here. One thing you have to do here, make sure, is that you're never standing in the same place. You don't have to be sprinting, but you never want to fall off anything here, because these guys, these turtle bros, they'll cast that magic like ring there, and if you're falling, you'll be falling through it and it'll hit you.
Also, just any kind of like lack of speed right here. They have intervals at which it activates. You can still see one kind of coming. It's sneaking its way out right there at the end. So I like to run really close to the left wall. You'll see that guy on the right side missed me because I was really good position-wise and speed-wise. And then you're really mainly just trying to dodge the first one that's close to the wall, and then the one that's right after that is a piece of cake because he's just out in the open. But that one on the right closing in, like you don't want to get too close to him. You want to roll into a spot where his attack misses you completely, and really engage them at the earliest timing you can if you're going to do it this way, because then the one on their position overall will be more ideal to get through that.
You can look at it again if you want.
Yeah. So
these guys are sketchy. You're going to have to know their timings very, very well, because there's no way other than to run past these guys. You can't. There's no
Yeah.
strat that's like, oh well, you can just do this or that.
See
Too
how
much going on.
the guy on the right missed, and I just like hugged the wall as close as I could.
Yeah. And so you basically, the rule of thumb with these guys is you only want to be in a position where one of them can attack you at once. So you can either space the other one or, bait the other one or whatever, but you never want to be in a position where two of the attacks can hit you at once, because then you'll get roll caught.
Yep. And also you can wait up on the wall if you want for them to pass. I think you might have to kill some other enemies up in like an area that we didn't really show too much, but there is other ways to do that. You can kind of make your own thing, but definitely going on that left side and being very quick at the point where they start walking towards you is the most important thing.
Those little guys can punch you, you know that.
Oh yeah, they're dicks. Yeah, they can like, and then there's like guys hiding in like the thing. You can see their heads sticking out of the ground. They'll just pop out and try to kill you too.
Oh my god, man! You go this very sketchy way. I go all the way around. I don't have to deal with big hammer, bro. But
yeah,
I guess
so. That Judicator guy will summon phantoms to try to kill you. They can't appear and kill you on this little rooftop that's kind of sunken and get away with it. Like your speed is really going to be the key right here. There should be some more that pop up on this rock because the attack lasts for a long time. And what I like to look for is just like see if there's anybody behind me, and then run into this little cutout right here, and you can see it's pretty safe. If it's a wizard, if you see a pointy hat guy, then get ready to dodge the streak of magic that goes towards you. It's a very simple attack to understand once you have seen it before, but just you can also wait till the Judicator's in an ideal spot, sneak into the corner beside that ruined building, and then run when he can't see you. So
what is this homeward bone, Squilla? Why?
I forgot skulls, I think, or I ran out of skulls, something like that.
That sucks because you have to do all of that all over again.
Yeah, we can skip back to it if you want to see if I do anything differently, maybe the second time. But
I'm just saying, like that's scary. Like if I had to do that section over again, I'd be like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, let's look at the fat bros one more time. The chub muffins.
And also super contrast macchiato and Jack. Thank you for the resubs, guys. I appreciate it. All the other resubs I missed, I'm sorry. Thank you very much. I hope that you guys are enjoying this.
Okay, look at this. Look at, oh my god, perfect dodge right there.
Yeah, that part's so satisfying to get down properly because I got destroyed there for a long time.
It's true. It actually feels good to dodge those things.
Yeah, it sucks if they get you. Like, they're really not the hardest enemies to get by. They're pretty hard to kill because they have a lot of health, but like you can do a weird plunge attack where they have a special animation that kills them if you fall off the ledge.
Yeah. It goes like into there.
Yeah, so let's see if the timing. Okay, so I got the attack there again. We'll see if there's a variety of, because he has 3 different types of enemies. He summons arrow guys when you're in the water, and then once you're out of the water, it will only be the magic guys or the hammer dudes. Hammer dudes are the safest because they can't reach you if you're moving. They'll never pop up in front of you or anything like that. Magic dudes have a really, really long range with their trail, so you got to watch out for that. So it looks like we got
don't want to deal with like hammer dudes, magic dudes, summon people, you can actually run the long way around the swamp, but you have to deal with the feast bros, the big bugs, a few times.
And I pop out over here again, wait for the next one. And there is none. So I have the skulls now. We're going to basically be baiting Midir to go across this bridge with the fire. And then once the fire fades, I'll run to a rock that's on the left-hand side of this bridge and throw a skull across to the right, because there's going to be a guy that pops out of the cave wall and tries to push you or do lightning. And he'll get kind of occupied. And then you run to this little lighter colored patch of rock right here, right where I'm standing, and wait again. And then you're safe. You're basically off the bridge once you fall off this next ledge.
But it's very, very important. This is a very, very tight section. Like it's really, 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 really tight. You can't afford to lose any speed. You can't afford to run late or anything at all, because
it's very quick.
It's very unforgiving. Midir's fire. You can't mess up. So if you practice that, you have to be perfect.
There is a case where if you know that you're behind and there's nothing you can do and the run's over because if you think the run's over because you just didn't time it right, you can learn to iframe his fire. So as you're going off the edge, you can roll. And if it was going to hit you, you have a chance to survive rolling into it, because you're not going to land in the aftermath of the fire where it's like the little flames on the ground, since you're already off the ledge. But I would recommend always practicing rolling off the ledge just in case the timing is bad. That's your last chance if you're late. That's the only thing you can do.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
You kill the guy. Make sure you hit him in 2 hits, not 1. David Tanker actually lost a run because he forgot that they take 2 hits to kill, and then you can use Midder's fire to
Mitter.
Midder, yeah, to kill the second guy. And then here, this is actually important. What you want to do is right after this bonfire, you just want to run up to Midir and not stop at all. If you stop, then you're going to have to deal with a bunch of different attacks that can hit you just based on your positioning.
Yeah, and then here, there's actually a safe spot you can go to that I never did before, but I do it now. It's by his left, technically right hand, but your left if you're looking at him head on. And he'll do a sweeping fire animation from the far side of the bridge to the one closer to where we are right now. And you'll go to his left hand, or I guess right, technically, the one that I'm at right now. That little rock right there, that ledge, it's safe. So you can stay there when he does that particular attack. I'll point it out. Right now, I'm not doing it. I'm running back to the farther safe spot periodically to buff and all that.
With this attack right here?
No, not that one.
No, okay.
Just the sweeping one,
This one. Oh, the sweeping. Okay.
The sweep. Yeah, this isn't the one yet. You want to hit his head when you have the chances because it does more damage. When you get Midir to... Okay, see the point right here you can see? He'll do a freak out after 60 to 65% health taken roughly. And after that... You either want to you really, if he's not going to get killed, if you don't have enough stamina to like punish him, you want to be in this safe spot right here.
Yeah.
In the corner.
Also, when you're attacking his head, make sure you're very careful. If you attack too far forward on his head while he's breathing fire, you'll get hit by it. It's got a pretty big hitbox.
Yeah, and that's that. So that part's it's pretty simple. You need the lightning if you want to do more damage, and it's really just like don't get yourself caught in that freak out attack. Just pay attention to his health bar. You can kind of look up and see it.
Yeah. So I don't remember if you get Clemente. 1 sec.
I think I'm pretty sure I do. Yeah, you're gonna want Clemente +3 for Gale.
You get Clemente +3?
I think so. I do it now. I do it at this point.
I think I stopped getting it. But we're gonna go to Midder, and so you want to open this shortcut and get this bonfire just because, you know, it's so you can go back and level up before Half-Light after you kill Midder. But
wait, what do you use for Gale if you don't use Chlor? I guess you would just use the Pontiff-Ring.
Yeah, I just use Pontiff-Ring. Yeah, I don't use Clemente.
Damn, that's probably smarter because you get the big blossoms too. So this is optional. You don't have to get this ring, but it's not really useful for Half-Light because there's a lot of downtime in between engagements in that. It's not constant combo dodging and all that, but it's like yeah, it's definitely a good ring. The thing is, you're gonna get really good blossoms that are almost the equivalent of regen for stamina right after this next part, anyways. So you can pop those. You should already have 1 left over from earlier in the game from Irithyll, I believe, but you might want to use that at a different point. I think there's 4 total in the entire game, or at least this route.
Yeah. There is actually. So I don't know if I don't know if you use the ladder or the elevator to set up RTSR. It looks like you're going to set up the elevator. What you do is you pull the lever and then you immediately sprint off. And where you land on the elevator, you'll get RTSR just very easily like that.
Yep.
That's what I was doing right now.
So you can do it that way. I think I still have a little bit of a chip of damage left that I need, which you can set up with the end of the ladder on the way to Midir or this lift bit right here. Quicker way to do it, just go to the ladder and climb down 23 notches. The first notch, don't count that. Just get onto the position where you're climbing down it, and then just count to 23, like from the first one. So 24 typically.
Oh my god, you're going for Half-Light first?
Yeah, I think I do Midir last in the DLC.
Okay. Man, you always do stuff in like such a weird order.
Yeah. Well, now I don't. Now I do it the same order that you probably would.
Okay.
Like all the easy bosses first, and then this guy right here at the door is a dick. I've actually gotten killed by him, and I don't really know what I can tell you to avoid it other than get ready to dodge into his attacks. If it's like the wave one, don't dodge away from him because it'll go through you, and you're going with the direction. You gotta bait him backwards.
If you bait him backwards and you pull him to the earlier place where
that's
Clemente is.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
Yeah, you can bait him backwards and then you can open that door safely.
I think I used to do that. Yeah, I stopped doing that, I guess.
Yeah. So Half-Light, this is a terrible fight. This is just bad. What's gonna happen is he's gonna summon Painted Guardians. The Painted Guardians are what's sketchy in this fight because you're going to have two enemies with very fast projectiles at the same time. So the first Painted Guardian, how we deal with it is we backstab at a very specific time, because if we don't, I think we have like very few frames to actually land this backstab. If we do it too early, we'll just do a normal attack. If we do it too late, the Painted Guardian will roll out of it. And then we have to either
Actually,
or kill the Painted Guardian normally. What?
One thing to elaborate on, if you do it in a weird timing where it's early but it's close, you'll do a backstab animation that misses, and then she can do a backflip and attack at the same time.
Oh yeah.
And then there's no way you can make up for that. Like, you've already gotten, there's a chance
like
right there. But because the timing of how I did it right there was in favor of that attack, it was fine. If I did it a little later but it still wasn't perfect, then it's just like you get the backflip.
Yeah.
Which means I missed it by being too late. Too early is fine, but too late is not good.
And the indicator here, or what I look for, actually I think this is what you look for too, Squilla, is you wait for her hair to get to the center
ponytail.
back.
The
ponytail.
The ponytail on the helmet. I'll wait for it to rest straight down, and then I go for it. It wasn't. Yeah. It was a little early though. That was a little early, so it's not a good example. You'll get used to it though.
If you mess it up, you just got to wait for a heal. That's the only real safe time to attack them, other than a sprint, and we're not in good positions for sprints. Okay.
Yeah, there's a combo that's like the main way to one cycle the second Painted Guardian, and I used it on the first one right there, or some of the combo where you do 2 L1s and then you do a weapon art, because the speed of the weapon art attack stops her from being able to roll sometimes, and even if she does roll, it catches her at the end of the roll. So yeah, it's more ideal.
L1, L1. L2, R2 is the full combo, I believe, and you got to be pretty quick with it. Okay, so this fight isn't long, and it doesn't seem that hard, but it's very, very specific. So what's happening here is once the first Painted Guardian is done, Half-Light is, you're going to be fighting Half-Light, and you want to get his HP to a very specific point, because once it's at that point, he'll summon the second Painted Guardian. Yeah. And when he summons the second Painted Guardian, you want him at a certain position and at a certain what's it called, position in the cycle of his attacks, so that when phase 2 starts, he will do his lightning attack, which will keep him as far away from you as long as possible.
Yep. There's also another way you can do it. Like, so that's the attack right there. It's when he pulls a bow. If you can hit him and then he pulls the bow right after you hit him when phase 2 starts, that's good. But if you want to guarantee that he's already in the bow phase, just get a backstab on him when he pulls the bow, which is tricky, but you can learn how to do it. I can mention some stuff after this about how you can get to him sooner and all that. But if you've backstabbed him in the bow phase, right here I'm using fire bombs. I don't actually remember why that was important, but
so basically the way it works is you can get 2 L1s on him, or two running L1s, and then you had it so that you would throw a few fire bombs and then push him into phase 2 at a very specific position at a specific time as well. I would just do another L1 or a running L1.
You can have the damage like be inconsistent, where it's not like set up meticulously, and then you like, because he's not really that like it's a difficult fight, but it's not that bad once the Painted Guardian's dead. Like, your priority is to just kill the Painted Guardian, that's it. And then it doesn't matter even if you had full health and you got healed, it'd be fine. But the thing is, really what I recommend is getting him into the bow phase on your last attack before phase 2 and getting the backstab. Then you run away from him and he's on the ground. If you have Hornet Ring, he has an animation that takes longer to get out of, so he has to get up from a weird kind of backstab. And then so imagine I backstabbed right there when he had the bow instead of the firebomb. And you can see this example in runs I'd be doing recently, or just like the newer stuff that people would do. And I get ready here to put a bundle on my weapon. It could be fire or lightning. Ooh. Painted Guardian gets tricky right here. I don't go for it. I homeward bound. Maybe you'll. That's scary. That's scary. But the thing is, you want that running animation from the Painted Guardian around the pillar, and you want to back up from the pillar with enough space so you don't actually hit the pillar with the combo. And what will happen is you'll do the L1 L1 R2, or sorry, L1 L1 L2 R2. And if you do it quick enough and there's no space in between, like 99% of the time it'll work. It'll be fine.
Yeah. The way the Painted Guardian works is if the Painted Guardian is sprinting, they have a certain amount of distance where they have to continue sprinting, where they cannot dodge or they cannot throw a projectile.
Yeah.
So if they're close enough and they're sprinting towards you, you can interrupt their sprint with an L1 and then fully combo them with another L1 and L2 and then an R2 to kill them. And the reason we do it around the pillar is so that Half-Light can't hit us while this is going on. Let's see if you get it this time.
No, still miss.
Oh
I was really iffy with the backstabs back then.
So L1, L1, L2, R.
Ooh, getting
you didn't
scary.
go for the R2 there. Yeah.
No, I didn't. I did do the R2, but I think I linked it too late. Or no. Wait, no, I went for an R1 by accident. Yeah, you're right.
There's the sprint
Right.
there. You saw the sprint there.
Yeah, so okay, this is an example of backstab punishing the bow. I would run around in circle right there, but I didn't do it just because I felt like my timing was iffy. When he starts out the bow attack, when you can see the spears about to pop up and he does that animation, you're gonna want to be strafing a direction and then going the opposite of the direction you strafe, because then he'll roll in a more favorable position. If you keep strafing one direction and then run around, you'll get blocked by the spears more often. So always be like going the opposite direction at the last second when he rolls into the stance to get the bow. Then you're already going and you'll be fine. That's a good way. So you can see right here, I don't have enough time, so I get away. There might be a good example of it in this part the next time he pulls the bow. This fight can take a long time though. It's scary.
It's also noticeable that Squilla only hit Half-Light with one of his twin blades there, and to make up for that, he threw another firebomb. That's why he did that, if anybody's wondering.
Yeah.
Another thing about this fight is, again, you want Half-Light in this corner, and right before he's about to pull the bow when phase 2 goes off. And the way you basically time that, you kind of just have to know. But basically, he'll do his little lightning attack after 2 cycles of the yellow homing soul masses.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's a timer. There's a timer on the bow, and there's a timer on those cycles of those magic. Yeah. It's not linked to or indicative of like your damage that you're doing to him. It's specifically a timer that you can't see. The timer on the magic's roughly just over 10 seconds.
Yeah. So you really want to be very particular with his positioning, and then you want to wait for about 2 cycles of magic, and then right now, maybe given about 5 seconds, you'll want to push him into the next phase. I think Squill's going to try and do it with fire bombs.
Yeah, and I think the firebomb was so I can get distance. I think it was so I could get distance, and then already be close to where I need to be for the Painting Guardian, so there's less of a chance she just heals him because I'm taking too long. Because when you arrive at that pillar really, really quickly, the Painting Guardian's more likely to run at you, so I think that's why I did the firebomb for the last part. Makes more sense. And then there's more of a chance that if he hasn't done the bow when I run away, that he will do it, and then that'll keep him. So that makes a lot more sense now that I'm thinking about it. So see how I'm already kind of like on my way to the next pillar. He's back there. And I'm trying to get into a position where I can safely throw it.
Oh my God, Squilla. Yeah, this is a...
Yeah. It's like right here. There we go.
Anyone who doesn't... Oh, there we go. Okay, so phase 2 starts.
Perfect.
And the reason we attack the Painted Guardian from the left side of the pillar rather than the right is our weapons are much less likely to bounce off the pillar like this than if we were attacking the other way. So
yeah,
that's the Painted Guardian right there. School did that really, really well. That went perfectly. Now all he has to do is deal with Half-Light. All you're gonna do is you're gonna do running attacks when he does that attack, and he can't really punish it. He can roll through it, but he can't punish you after that. Like he can't guaranteed punish you after that. So
you're also good. You're also going to want to, again, like pay attention to that timer of the magic. So see how that releases right there. Count to 10 roughly in your head, or just kind of get a feeling for how long that is. And if you think it's been too long, if you even have a hesitation, just don't. Wait for another cycle of the magic. Because if it pops up, you don't even have to be far away from it. It'll just hit you from popping up when you're beside him. So you don't want that. Also, the running attack window for actually landing the punish safely is very quick, so you're going to want to be actually executing the start of the attack when he slams down. Any later than that, and you're risking getting hit, so you can kind of see that, like when he does
do a different attack, where he'll just do like 20 katana slashes really quick, and that will definitely hit you if you're too close.
Yeah, so what I like to do is I like to stop sprinting and then get ready to do like a little mini sprint. If he slams as I start sprinting, then I just go in for it. It's kind of weird. It's hard to explain. You'll get used to it over time, but it's a very quick time frame to do that. Or because like he'll be attempting to interrupt your attack every time you do it, unless you're on the perfect engagement, like with the spacing and everything. Like right here, see how he like starts a swing and I stop him. A fraction of a second later, and it trades with you, and you're dead. So
very rarely, this this has happened once to me. But he can actually do that like ground shockwave attack through a pillar, and it can hit you.
Oh,
So,
yeah. It's not supposed to be able to, but yeah, I've seen that before.
yeah, so just be aware of that. You're not completely safe if you're hugging a pillar.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Half-Light. This is a very precise fight. It sucks to do. There's a lot of RNG and a lot of very precise timing, so that's why it's considered one of the worst fights in the run. And by itself, it's not really that hard of a fight, but it's really hard not to get hit during this. There's been a few other strats actually. Like Gino has a storyteller staff strat. I think Couch Jockey has a pyro strat where he just cheeses him through the pillar. Ghost Sagan, way back when we were doing this run, came up with a respec into Gunder's lance stab, like you just stab him over and over.
Yeah.
Again, strat where you kill him before the second or the first Panty Guardian is even out.
Astora's Great Sword, I think, is like similar to that.
Yeah.
And I don't know, again, like you can try to like bring in any kind of methods you already know yourself to this. I'd recommend that. And also take into consideration the stuff that's not happening here that we're talking about. Like not using the fire bombs and just not worrying about that. Going for the backstab on the bow phase works too. But again, like I'm setting up the optimal amount of distance where I'm already on my way to the destination. So the Painting Guardian's more likely to start running at me immediately instead of trying to heal him because I'm hanging back. That's typically what she does. So yeah.
And now we have Gale.
Okay. Yeah, so you're gonna have your red tier stone already set up for this.
Yeah, don't touch the bonfire. If you do, then you have to fall down another elevator shaft, and then you might become Gino.
Oh, poor Gino.
Poor Gino. This fight it's actually it's a lot easier in terms of reactions because all of his attacks are very telegraphed. The only danger that's really in this fight is phase 2, where he shoots you with his crossbow over and over and over again. That's really all you need to worry about. But there are very specific strategies for each phase, and oh my god, there's going to be a lot to talk about. Squilla.
Yeah, the Gale is very complicated. There's so many attacks that he has. It's just like I don't know. Especially phase 1. There's 3 phases. There's a lot of health. It's going to be a long fight. One very, very important thing right off the bat is you can get poison resin and poison him. So that when he's poisoned, he's having his health tick as you switch back to lightning resin rebuff, or you're just hitting him, and it's ticking through phase 2 as well. So you're not only just like getting an advantage in the beginning, but it continues to tick into phase 2 if you're still being aggressive. And I heard, I don't know if this is true, I haven't actually tested it yet, but I heard if you poison him and you wait for the cutscene to play, that he actually has less health in phase 2 because it continues through the cutscene.
I didn't know that. That's really good.
Yeah, I don't know if it's true though. I don't know.
I hope so. The poison is really good in phase 2 because phase 2 is where you have to play the safest and where you get the least amount of damage done fast. So poison is really, really helpful. You want it to be basically procced just at the end of phase 1 and all during phase 2. It can do like 5,000, 6,000 damage.
Yeah.
So this phase, it's notable that Gale, the way he works is every 5 hits, if you do them fast enough, he will stagger, and then you can get 2 more free shots off. Other than that, most hits you can punish once. Slam attacks like that or stab attacks where he'll jump across the stage can be punished twice. So if you have an internal counter and you're just like, okay, 4 hits, 5 hits, you can get a few extra punishes. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward. Just dodge his attacks.
He's going to be doing this one attack where it's kind of like a red glow on his weapon, and he just stabs you. He like does a big lunge and stabs you from across the map. I want to say that it's important to roll backwards with the direction of that attack so you can get more hits, because you're going to actually, if you roll against it, he'll be too far away to get to, and you'll miss out on chances. So little like optimizations like that will really make it easier on you, because it's completely safe and you're just getting more damage quicker. These like plunge stabs, he finishes a lot of combos with them. He does them out of nowhere. This one right here, so he'll do this and then he'll go into this red stab thing, and I dodge past it right here because I'm not doing it the right way. But yeah, you want to dodge. You want to dodge with the direction of it, and it will actually grant you 2 to 3 free hits easily. This thing I like to run away from. I like to run away because then it doesn't use as much stamina as rolling, and then I can get 3 punishes here if I want, or 2, whatever it is.
Being safe. This is it.
Yeah.
So second phase, ideally you would have poison ticking at this point, and you're going to want to fight him at a distance. You want to fight him far enough away, whereas if he pulls out his crossbow, it isn't just going to insta-kill you. Yeah, Squilla dodges into this. You can actually just run back in a straight line, and they won't hit you. And then you got to worry about them coming back. He's being really nice with the no crossbow.
Yeah, so at a certain distance, you'll see I actually just kind of skirted the range of the requirement to get the crossbow, which is right about that range right there. You can see he'll just spam a bunch of arrows at you. It's really, really crazy. A lot of runs have died to Gale crossbow arrows in the attempts to do this. And yeah, so like again, we're gonna make a video with like more explanation of all the attacks he does, but there's so many that we couldn't possibly even talk about it right now, and just the like amount of time we have
to deal with them and stuff like that.
There's a lot. One thing you're gonna have to be careful with. He attacks, like every attack he does that's a swipe hits twice, because his cape actually does damage after the sword, which is delayed. So you have to be really accurate with your timing. Like it gives you less of a chance to actually dodge it, because it's like 2 attacks with 1 dodge, right? Just slightly staggered.
Phase of the fight, you always want to be strafing, and then when he pulls out his crossbow, you want to immediately go into a sprint. And because of that, you want to be very, very aware of. Oh wow, you got a pretty quick phase 3. You want to be very, very aware of your positioning, because if you end up running into one of those chairs, then the crossbow is just going to end up hitting you. So you got to be very, very conscious of your environment.
The way I think of it is just like always try to not have them behind you if you can. Try to rotate around a little bit.
When he does that triple attack there, like anytime he does that attack where he slams a 3rd time, you can punish him with 3 hits, because he'll always walk back, and that's your main source of damage there.
You can basically kind of just dodge in this overhead. He'll spin, and then he'll do a stab, which 3 free hits. You don't even actually have to roll through the spin. You can just back up if you want and run past the stab and get 3 if you want for more stamina. And that's a good combo. Sometimes he'll do the overhead, then he'll jump. He hasn't done it yet. I'm getting really lucky right here, because this right here is that's the biggest source of damage you can get in this entire fight for phase 3. But then he'll do like these little jumpy things. It'll either be like a spin to start or just a normal jump, but it'll always end up in 2 identical jumps after that. And then what you're really trying to do is run around the magic that comes out of them, because that can hit you in the air before it actually turns into AoEs on the ground, which are like little like patches of lightning that will be delayed. There's just a lot of stuff going on. So he's gonna
if I remember correctly, you roll to his right, or the way you deal with his attacks is to avoid the air crossbow, I think.
I'm playing it safer here, where I can't get the air crossbow, because I'm not really like going in for stuff as aggressively. Like I wouldn't play this fight exactly the same now. Like I'm a little bit more aggressive. I punish almost everything, but he, again, like a really good RNG on this. He's just going for the spins, and that's like the best. But yeah, so you can kind of pick and choose. You can be really careful and only go for like these big triple combo punishes and these spinny things. But again, if he does the slam, he'll do like a little flip and not do the spin sometimes. We haven't seen it here yet though, because apparently I'm just like the luckiest person on it. He never did it once.
Really good Gale fight.
He never did it once.
We're gonna check my Gale fight. We're gonna go to my Gale fight. Okay. So the way my Gale fight's at the end of the run, so is it? Where is it? I think I even get poison resin here. Yeah. Here, we'll skip to phase 3. I want to see. Yeah, so I have rotten pine resin on for this.
And yeah,
you'll see it's procking, or it's gonna go into phase 2, I think. Yeah, here we go. It should be ticking, right? You can't see it behind my chair thing, but it's ticking down slowly, and this actually makes this phase a lot faster. But in phase 3 of this fight, I deal with it differently. I don't punish the spin that Squilla does, because that scares me. But I instead have to deal with, I think, a lot of oh, this is it, I think. A lot of crossbow attacks. Maybe not. I don't know.
So like, yeah, the main priority is like with the combos in phase 2 when he does the swings, he'll go into a stab most of the time out of it, and that's where you're getting a lot of damage to speed it up. So you backed away from that backswing right after. He could have gone into a stab after this overhead when it starts, and then he does like the backslash. Even the swipes, if he follows up with 2 swipes and you're mid-range, getting that stab is actually like preventing you from being farther away and getting the crossbow, and just it's speeding through all the time that you are going to actually spend if you're far away. So learning how to do this aggressive is possibly the best tip I could give. Even if it takes longer, just because no matter what, if you do any other runs in the future with it like that, it's just going to help a lot. It's going to be easier to get it done fast, right?
You'll notice for the little slam attacks, the running slam attacks, I dodge to the left where Squilla will dodge to the right. I'll punish that 3 times.
Oh, well, actually, wait though. Punishing it 3 times, sometimes he attacks sooner, and I've actually gotten killed from punishing it 3 times, so I stopped. Really? I stopped doing that unless I knew he was going to stagger.
Oh man! Yeah. When he teleports, you can sneak in a free hit. By the way,
like unless you do a rolling attack when you roll into him to start doing it, then maybe you can do 3. But if not, I usually just do 2 regular attacks.
So here, I don't punish the spin, but I'll punish the flip. So I dodge to the left, and then I dodge to the right. And if he does the crossbow shit, he did stuff he did there. Man, it feels like we can't swear because of Raptor. If he does the crossbow stuff he did there, oh shit, man. All you have to do is you strafe to the right a little bit, and you delay your dodge, and then you roll twice, and you should never get hit by it, as long as the terrain is not a vertical hill.
Yeah, you can be like sprinting diagonally to the right away from it, and it'll miss you. You just don't want to be too close. You want to be like kind of running away from him, but just like to the right slightly, and you're good. Then just dodge in between as you see the attacks. You can roll it like that too, but it's just like it's a little scary then.
Yeah, that's the most consistent way I've found to do it. And as long as you're not on a hill, it's okay. But those are the attacks I mainly punish, and that's a lot more of Gale. Okay, let's do Midir now. Midir. Oh
boy, Midir is really easy once you get it down. It's a lot of just combos that end in recoveries that are easy to punish, but you're gonna have to like learn quite a bit to do it. If you play the game casually, you probably already know some of the stuff. But there's one thing I can mention that I don't think either of us were doing at this time, but we were missing out on the speedrun strat where you actually make him do these claw swipes, either standing up and breathing fire or the claw swipe. It's like a 50-50 chance for either. If you are in a certain position on his mouth, you can get him to do it, and those are really easy attacks to get free damage on, and it'll stop him from flying. It'll stop him from doing every other attack if you're in this right position. It's the fastest way to do the fight. If he does it before he goes into phase 2, his health will be so low after punishing all those that you're guaranteed to get the stagger immediately. Like it'll happen instantly, and you won't have to do phase 2 at all. I don't know if I can point it out unless it happens now, but the way you see him done in a speedrun is completely safe for no hits as well. There should never be the case where someone gets hit on him in a speedrun unless it's like just unexpected, but they do it in a pretty safe way that's really good with positioning and all that.
Midir is very much about 80 decks, very much about camera control. Like it's not a hard fight, everything's telegraphed, everything's very like, nothing's gonna really catch you as long as you can see it. And if you have good camera control, you'll be able to see everything.
Yeah, you're going to want to be... It's kind of like Nameless King. You want to be in front of him, and you want to be locked off, because if you're locked onto him, it becomes like it's like the camera's going through an earthquake or something, because his head is just moving around so much. Yeah. Now,
here, you're going to throw a firebomb at a wall. Never mind. You're going to go... Yeah, you're going to go through here, and you're going to throw a firebomb at a wall. Do you want to explain that?
Yeah, so this part right here, this stat, invisible walls in this game have a chance of glitching your character out, where you'll teleport across the room, and in this room, because the collision for the floor is all screwed up, I guess, it will push you through the floor sometimes and kill you. So the run's over if you don't throw the firebomb in some cases. We've had that happen before. You've had that happen, I remember.
Yeah, I had that happen once. It was not good.
It's happened on speedruns. It just pushes you through the floor and you die. You just fall into like the void or something.
Alternative setup for RTSR here. You can actually climb to rung 34 on this ladder and fall off, and you'll get RTSR.
See, I do 23 like from the top.
Oh, I do 34 from the bottom.
Okay, yeah, 23 from the top works. If you like start counting after you're already on the ladder, like the first climb down is 1, and then so on.
Yeah, that seems more efficient.
Why does the thumbnail pick out Faraaz on it? We were watching his Gale video for a second too to give you 2 different comparisons, just because there's more attacks that didn't happen on mine because I got better RNG and all that. There's still even more stuff to go over, but like it's just the basic stuff you want to consider.
Could it be that I'm actually Squilla?
Or is it merely myth?
Or is it merely
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So here you're just you're avoiding his charge. Midder's actually really satisfying. Oh my god, this fight was really satisfying to do with the XL Greatsword because you would get really rewarded for having very good positioning and timing. With the twin blades, it's not as good, but you just want to really know his attacks. I like his. Yeah, I like this fight too. He also doesn't have eyes, man.
So okay, so whenever I'm walking up to him right now and I'm hitting his beak, if you're hitting the middle, like where his mouth ends, the side of his face, almost near his ears, so not his neck but right beside his neck, he'll actually do these swipes, or he'll stand up. And again, those are the easiest things to get a lot of damage in a quick time frame. It'll keep him from doing stuff like this, like flying away. It's hard to actually keep the character in that position with the twin blades. That's the hardest part of it, but you're gonna want to pay attention to that on speedruns and use that strat if you can, because again, if his health is right where it is right now and you do that, you're buying yourself more time. So where I hit right there originally, but just standing a little bit closer, I would have had an extra free hit right there, and it's guaranteed that he would have staggered. I think I have enough damage to still do it, but yeah, one second, one moment.
Yeah, okay. Right here, when he phase transitions, what's up, man? Hey, okay. Right here when he phase transitions, you can actually get 3 or 4 hits in before you need to dodge away from his AoE that'll pulsate out from him. And then from there, if you're quick enough, you can do 2 more hits, and depending on how much HP he has, you can actually skip his entirety of his second phase. That's why it can be very rewarding to do this phase fast.
Yeah.
But in the second phase, you only need to do 1 or 2 more attacks. The only real thing you need to worry about that was different from the first phase is he can summon like little ghosty things that'll kind of chase you, and then you can get roll caught if he attacks while those ghosty things are near you.
Yeah, that's actually pretty difficult because like for me, what I like to do, if he does the magic, you just kind of like, you don't run, you jog regular speed like directly towards the camera, and then at the last second you just start sprinting left or right, and you can dodge all of them. But he'll do a slam that kind of couples on top of the magic as a follow-up, and you got to dodge that right after. So
okay,
yeah,
that's Midir. Very easy fight. The phase 2 is pretty much non-existent because you do deal so much damage with the visceral attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's pretty much the run. Now we get to do old Demon King and Curse Rotten Greatwood, but I don't know. Those fights are pretty.
Yeah, this is really the rest of this is simple.
Yeah, actually, old Demon King, you can actually one cycle him before you can even attack if you do it properly. I guess we'll just skip to the fight.
Okay.
I don't know if we set up RTSR or not.
So for me in this one at this point, like I already feel like I've won, like it's over. And people have already said GG at this point. They've expected that it's over. ODK is the more dangerous boss out of the two. He's got a hitbox on his butt, like right at the base of his tail, where if you just stand beside him, it'll hit you. He doesn't even have to attack.
Yeah, stagger you a little bit. And also when he transitions into his second phase, he'll like step forward,
and that can stagger
anywhere
too.
Near him. Yeah, if you're anywhere near him at that point, like not even like touching him, but if you're anywhere near his feet, it'll cause a hit.
Yeah, so try to go towards the tail when that happens if you can. Yeah. Like the tip of the tail or the middle. I find like if you're in front of him when he starts that's where you guaranteed get the stagger from him going forward. And then yeah, just stay away from the base of his tail on either side for the rest of the fight. Try to like hit the tip of his tail or maybe the front of his kneecap if you can. The side of his leg is fine too. But you'll see we get some like pretty good damage in the beginning of this to start it off. So he'll go into phase 2 immediately. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, that was scary actually. I shouldn't have done that.
That was very scary.
Oh, that was just a
Yeah.
quick kill. I don't know. Wait, what do you think I was doing there? Can we go back and look at that again in slow motion?
I
Maybe?
don't know why you were in front of him because that's terrifying.
I attacked out of the way right there. That's really, really weird, though. There's a risk that I could have gotten staggered. I guess I didn't even know. I might have not known at that time, but I swung myself out of the way right when he was like in the most forward position.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's weird.
God, Squilla, man, oh man.
There's some
pretty.
There's so many
things.
things in this run that are really scary. There's like the thing in the DLC with the angel. There's the grave tender. There's that. It's crazy.
Yeah, man. Okay, now tree balls. Last boss of the run. This one is actually not too bad. Oh, your game crashed.
Yep. Streamers cheating.
Wow, it crashed again.
Yep.
Does it keep crashing, or there's a problem with the video here?
No, it's probably just the video. It crashed. It crashed once there and once on the way to Archdragon Peak, I think, or something like that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you do this a little bit different. The strategy for Tree Balls himself is pretty easy. You just attack his sacks of pus, but
Yeah.
everybody does the hollows a little bit differently. I will go up and run and attack each one of them, or bait them out and just melee them. I think do you use lightning urns or no, you use skulls? Huh.
I think I was using fire bombs and stuff. I don't know. Let's see. Maybe
Gino uses fire bombs. I know he does.
Black fire bombs, yeah.
Black fire bombs.
Because they do more damage to the ones that survive the regular fire bombs. So you can play this part as safe as you want. You can use skulls. You can do whatever you want. Now I just run up and kill them because I'm not really worried. But yeah, and I'd still do the same thing. And if it was the tournament that's coming up for this soon, where I tied with somebody and I made it this far, then I'd probably still run up and kill them.
Yeah.
It's
Running
gotta
up
be
and
really
killing
careful.
them is very safe. You just have to start from the right and then go towards the left.
Yeah.
And yeah, you just got to be fast about it.
There are some in their default position where if you go that far towards them, the fight will start. So you want to have some of them come towards you. This guy with the hook's fine. You can just run up and kill him where he is. But some of them farther to the left, you don't want to actually run into the position and get them first. You just want to go, like you said, right to left.
Yeah. These guys right here, if you run up to them, the fight will start. Curse Rotten Greatwood will aggro. So you can also just be fast, kill them really, really, really fast because you have twin blades. You know, you're going to one-shot all of the parts of Curse Rotten Greatwood, but Squilla's just being very careful here.
Yeah, because like if you could imagine, like this is like the closest. This is the end of the run pretty much for me. So I need to, no matter what you would think should be good for this fight or not. Like if it was way earlier in the run, I would have played it probably a little bit more quickly and all that. So
you want to go for his his crotch and then his hand and then his leg,
his ankle.
And that will push him into the second phase.
And you can hit his ankle right away and run away, and he might do an attack. But if you wait like I did, you'll get a stagger, and then he can't attack. He just goes into phase 2 immediately. And I do that just in case. But really, you can be fast and run away, and it's fine.
And then you just got to hit his thigh and then his crotch again. And
I wait again for the stagger, and then I hit the hand instead of opting for the middle sack there, just because. But yeah, because I've had problems. I've missed it before. It's really easy to do, but just in case. And then that's the run.
That's the run. That's it. That's all the bosses of Dark Souls 3.
That's PB.
That's PB. Oh man, it's an old meme. Oh God, Dark Souls 3. I want to be done with this game forever.
Do you not like it?
I hate it so much, man.
Oh no,
it's bad. Well, it's not bad, but it's bad for me.
Yeah,
but that's the run. You know, I hope you guys enjoyed the commentary. I hope the commentary was useful, answered questions, or whatever. If you have any questions or whatever, I'm sure we can answer them.
Yeah.
Is that it? Do you have anything to say with the